On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will touch on a few interesting Star Wars news items like the return of Teek and the loss of another creative from the Rey Movie project. If news ain't your thing, the dudes will then tier rank the 11 Star Wars live-action films. Find out once and for all which flicks are S-tier and which ones are low-tier kind of affairs. Of course, we'll end with the question of the week responses and the latest round of Top Hot Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie.
Hey, now, my friends, we are back for some Star Wars time, aren't we? We are vertical, we are horizontal, we are still not cross-chattel, if you know what I mean. Hey, I've been doing my work. If you could see my behind the scenes, did some work this week. I can at least now take both chats and feature them on the screen, kind of like this. Look at that. Hey, now they're divided. Ooh, look, it even took your green named font color and used it. So, yeah, I got some things going, some things not going. In terms of merging the two chats, that's going to have to be a YouTube thing at some point in time. Like I said, League, you are in the vert chat. Doesn't matter. I can see them all today, and I can put them all on the screen. So while you may not be chatting with each other in the same chat, I'm going to see it. I'm going to feature the good ones, the ones that get me talking, the ones that get me laughing, maybe even the ones that get me angry. But we're here. We've got something going on. I'm up and down. I'm wide, like I said. I'm doing what the YouTube gods are asking. So, bear with me as we play around with this tech stuff. But I dig it. I'm digging it. I like what I can see now, at least in my OBS console. I just wish I could send a chat message from one place to both different chats. You know what I mean? Does anyone know what I mean? I say, and it goes somewhere. So, yeah, sorry, fans. I mean, I love you, diehards. League, Bat, Divided. Ben's up in here today. Bango stopped in to say hi. Same as Michael. Send a note to your local representative and blame Google for the chat being split. We have a divide in the Star Wars Time Show community of super fans, and it upsets me. But there's not much I can do. So here we are. Like I said, the good thing is your voice is going to be heard. Last week, I could only feature horizontal chat people on my screen. Now I can get you both. So there's at least that. And one day, if we branch out to Twitch, Facebook for old people, we can pull all those in too. Thank you, League, for the update on the vertical. I appreciate that. I'm not sure why everyone's name's coming in green, but I'll take it. It works. I'm not really going to worry about it right now. There are so many settings I have on this new little bit of software I installed to get all this stuff working that for someone like me that I'm a settings guy. If I get anything new, be it technology, it could be a toaster oven. If there are settings, if there are buttons, I am pressing them and I need to know what they do. And this thing probably has, I'd say, 200 to 300 different settings I could make. So, is what it is. Green is good, Bat. There's no doubt about that. I may set the auto down chat. I can now, once I pop up an overlay, I can have it disappear after 20 seconds or so. So, yeah. Thanks, Ben. Share away, brother. We love that. We love the community out there stumping. We ask at the end of every show to get out there in your public square, in the town hall, and beat your chest for the SWTS. See, I can even rhyme here. This green thing is kind of driving me nuts a little bit. It should be yellow. Oh, there we go. Color names if original name color available. So maybe I should turn that off. Oh, well. We'll let you all have your green, right? Oh, crap. I just disabled the chat. Hopefully it still works. Yes. The numbers represent minutes on toasters. Bat and I, us old people, we grew up with toasters. Kind of like jam in. You could stick metal in it and maybe electrocute yourself. These days, it seems toaster ovens have kind of taken over everything. You can do anything with a toaster oven. You want to cook a steak? toaster oven. Reheat pizza, toaster oven. Or, no, I'm talking about an air fryer. I'm stupid. Let's go. All right. Hey there, the Benjamin. Welcome to the welcome to the Star Wars Time Show. All right, here we go. Okay, as you can see, I'm here by myself. Young Nick is definitely looped up and working still. He should be joining me for the meat of this episode. I know I've been kind of dilly-dallying here, but the meat of this episode is Nick and I are finally going to tier rank the live-action movie. So hopefully he gets here within an hour or so, and we can spend some time on that. I feel it's going to get a bit contentious with the prequels. As we know, young Nick is he's even more down on them than me. I mean, these days, it seems like young Nick doesn't like anything pop culture. So who knows where this is going? Hopefully we get through the Marvel talk before he gets here, because we know that Marvel upsets the young one. Okay, so we'll see where things go. But we're going to start the way we usually do. We'll do some pop culture talk. The team, as in my super fans, they asked me to talk on the massive announcement. I guess it was a leak, but then it became official, of all the MCU stuff hitting Disney Plus over the next, I'd say, year and a half. It's insane, especially when you consider what Bob Iger said about the property and the need to cut down. I actually think he was probably talking about Star Wars, because that is the Disney property that seems to not have a lot going on for Disney Plus. But we'll get there. We'll have some fun. And there's also some Star Wars news. Skeleton Crew, we got kind of a nod to a classic non-canon character that maybe the older generations will remember. We also got some updates on the Rey movie. Not looking good. Looking like more creatives leaving the project, which we know can often lead to definite delays, if not at times full-on shelving of the film. So hopefully that's not the case. We'll talk about it. We'll get there. Plenty to chew on this week. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm not going to get right into Ask Us, because just in case Nick gets here in a timely fashion, those are fun to have with him. So I will kind of start with the low-hanging fruit pop culture type of stuff. And that kind of deals with this right here. A little movie came out last week, and I know the critics and even some fans have been a bit down on it, but I mean, let's be real. We all know Sony Marvel is not going to be that great. These days, Disney Marvel isn't even that great. But I do have to say that I have enjoyed the Venom trilogy. All right, I know it's kind of silly, kind of wacky, kind of all over the place, but I think Tom Hardy and then Venom, it makes for a good buddy comedy, buddy flick, a buddy trilogy, if you will, between these two characters. And I do think Till Death Do Us Part, the third Venom, puts a nice little exclamation point on the trilogy. It does leave some things open for potential continuation of the series. I went with my 8-year-old, and she's like, "Hey, Dad, do you think there'll be a Venom 4?" She really dug it. I mean, she loved the movie. Again, she's an 8-year-old, so not going to be as critical as some of us older people or pro critics. But she's like, "Hey, is there going to be another Venom?" I said, it depends on how much money this one makes. And I didn't look at the numbers to see how it did over the weekend, but based on the critical reviews, I'm guessing not too well. But I enjoyed it. I honestly thought Venom 3 was fun. It was funny. Definitely some funny moments there. Tom Hardy, really, really well acted in the movie, just like the other two. And really, the kind of the biggest pro about Venom 3 is the relationship between Venom and Eddie Brock, Tom's character. It's kind of a beautifully chaotic dynamic between the two, and it's such a good bond that by the end of the movie, some things happen, and I'm not gonna lie, I was more emotionally invested in the Venom trilogy than I thought could possibly be imagined. I got a little touched, if you will. Not full on crying, but definitely got a little touched, and not in those areas where I'd have to call the police, but it moved me a bit. It's like, hey, these two, Venom and Brock, they had a bond, and whenever you have a bond with something, be it an alien symbiote or a pet or a friend, you know what that bond can signify. It can bring a lot of joy in your life. It can bring some pain, and definitely can bring some sadness. So, quite frankly, for what it is for Sony Marvel and the two Venom movies before it, I really thought Venom: The Last Dance was fun, competent, and a pretty decent ending to the trilogy. So there you go. I say it's probably like a 7 out of 10, something like that. It looks like a lot of people in the chat are waiting to stream Venom, like Nova right here. Benjamin they're just holding out on the Venom trilogy in particular. I'll tell you what, Benjamin, if it's something where you don't want to have to think too much or be too fully invested, it really is not a bad watch. I promise you that. But I'm also old and kind of stupid. And when I watch movies, I like to alter my mind a bit, which I think makes me a bit more soft critic than most people out there. All right, so there you go. Venom 3, I'm a supporter. I say let's go to the movies, right? Let's pump some cash into cinema so it doesn't completely go away by 2026 and we can't watch the Mandalorian Grogu movie in theaters. So that's why I go to the movies, trying to support the industry and the art form, and I just love being at the cinema. All right, so there we go. Moving on to the Marvel news that the fandos wanted me to talk about. This kind of popped up a day or two ago. Like I said, I think this initially started as a leak, and then Disney had to follow suit and drop it out. So we got a ridiculous amount of new Marvel shows announced, for one coming at the end of this year and then a bunch in 25. I'm honestly flabbergasted, and this is one where I would kind of appreciate some of Nick's MCU curmudgeonness, because I know this would drive him insane if we were even talking about it, because he's way down the MCU, and for good reason. It has not lived up to the first 3 phases, but it's also, listen, like I said, I'm kind of gooey upstairs here. I'll watch whatever. I'll give it a chance. I don't let other people's opinions affect mine until I see something myself. So I'm not as down on the MCU, but what I do find weird about this news that you can see, if you're on the stream, by the way, if you ever want to make the crossover from the podcast only version of the show, which goes out to all major platforms a day after the live stream, but if you do want to try to get on the live stream, we now offer the vertical version, so perfect for your devices, and the horizontal, perfect for your TVs or desktops. And we do the stream every Wednesday, 5 p. East, or as close as we can get. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. So, this Marvel news, just to recap, basically forced through a leak, Marvel announced this week that there are going to be 7 new Disney Plus shows. 7! And this comes a few months after Bob Iger was like, yo, we way overcommitted to the MCU. We're spending way too much money on Marvel stuff for Disney Plus. We need to scale that back. And yet here we are today with an announcement complete with a sizzle reel trailer that there are going to be 7 new MCU shows hitting Disney Plus from the end of 24 through 2025. And I think that's kind of nuts. It just, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. I like, if we can have the CEO say, hey, we're doing too much Marvel, we need to scale back. But then they only scale back on Star Wars Disney Plus content. What world are we living in? I know Star Wars divides the fandom, but that's going to happen. But I think we'd all want at least 1 or 2 new Star Wars show a year. I know my buddy here, my comrade, he would prefer to go 2 years or so, or Will of the Force would like to go 2 or 3 years without seeing some Star Wars. But I'm like, hey, give it to us, right? Give us the content. But it appears still, even though Bob's saying no, that they are definitely funneling money into the MCU for Disney Plus. So what we got coming here, for those who don't know, at the end of this year is going to be the first of the new shows, and that's going to be the final season of What If. All right, so the final season of What If is going to hit December 22nd, and it's going to complete what that series kicked off 2 years ago. And quite frankly, I kind of dig these. I think What Ifs are fun. I would kill to have this exact same format, same team, do What Ifs for Star Wars. All right, if we can do 3 seasons of What If for Marvel, why can't we do it for Star Wars? I think it would be freaking amazing, to be honest with you. So What If Season 3, that's the first of the new 7. That's coming at the end of this year. Then in January, we got another animated series coming in the form of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So this takes Pete back to his roots. I don't think it involves Tom Holland or any of that. It's a purely animated series. This one is set for January 25. Quite frankly, zero interest in that. I just don't care. I enjoy Spider-Man, but more in the live action sense, or I guess comic books if I could read. After that, this is the one that I would assume most people got jazzed about. And that is Daredevil Born Again, which is going to be a continuation of Netflix's original Daredevil and Punisher series. So both Bernthal and Charlie Cox coming back. Vinny D'Onofrio is going to be back. And I'd say this one probably got the most time in the sizzle reel. You know what I mean? So this one I will say I'm kind of excited for, because I really did think the Netflix Daredevil Punisher series were well done. I happen to know a good chunk of the stunt team that worked on these. Stunt Buddy is Bernthal's double for Punisher stuff, so I'm always down to support friends, the network. And it was just good. And I'm expecting Daredevil Born Again to not disappoint. So that's coming out in March. I mean, I'm telling you, this stuff is like rapid fire. Maybe it's just Bob going, you know what? We spent the money. It's been shot. And unlike the WB, we're not going to take a tax cut. We're just going to release this shit. So who the hell knows? There's Nova saying here, I watch Punisher, but still need to see the old Daredevil. It's good. It's good. I mean, it's kind of how Punisher, I believe, gets looped into the series. It has one of the best one-shot hallway scene fights developed or coordinated by my man Phil Severa. So yeah, definitely want to check that stuff out there, Nova. Get on it. Ben's asking, is Nick going to show up? Well, am I not enough? Am I not enough Star Wars time show for you, Ben? I'm just kidding, Ben. He should be here. He's got a work meeting. Who knows? Who knows when he's going to be here? But hopefully it's within the hour, because I don't know how long I can vamp. And quite frankly, doing a tier list rank of the live action movies without a partner is going to be kind of stupid. So hopefully he gets here within the next, 40 minutes. I may be dead by then, but we'll try our best. All right, so after Daredevil, we then move into Ironheart, which is coming out June 24, 2025. So again, just a few months after Daredevil. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about here, Ironheart is going to feature Riri Williams. She is the kind of the female Tony Stark that debuted in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So she is getting her own live action series hitting in June 24. And quite frankly, it just looks like female Iron Man. I don't know if that is the point. I don't know much about the character of Ironheart. I was not a huge fan of Wakanda Forever. I don't necessarily blame it on the cast and crew. It's kind of hard to make a follow-up when you lose someone like Chadwick Boseman. But I just didn't love the movie. Ironheart never really grasped me, never stood out. It's not a character I really give two shits about. So we'll see. I'll probably tune in. Again, mushy brain. I can consume most fiction content and be okay with it. So soon after that, staying within the Wakanda family of characters, we're going to get another animated series in the form of Eyes of Wakanda. That's coming in August, like I said, and it will be animated, and it's supposed to tell kind of short stories about the kind of the Wakanda, the tribe and the lives they lived, the challenge they've lived, knowing that they had the what was it, the vibranium deposits or whatever mineral they had. It's been a while. Sorry, people. I used to know a lot of Marvel when it was good to be in the know. These days, I've kind of tuned out a bit. And then after Eyes of Wakanda, we've got another animated series in Marvel Zombies. So this is not a what if. This is a full-on zombie versions of the characters that we once saw in a what if episode. There we go. Benjamin giving us a report that Ironheart isn't a favorite comics character either. So it makes sense to me. But Marvel Zombies, October 25. Again, it's going to have the same visual tone, same animation style as What If, and kind of pick up on, I think that was season 2 when we got the zombies in What If. And then finally, back to a live action series, December 25. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, a.k.a., who played... what's his name? Dr. Manhattan in the, not JJ's Watchmen, but Lindelof's Watchmen series on HBO. He is going to be starring as Wonder Man, live action again, December 25. And I don't know shit about Wonder Man. I don't even know what his powers are. But apparently for this show, his character Simon Williams is not going to be portrayed like Simon Williams in the comics. He's actually going to be, it's going to be kind of meta in that Yaha's character Simon is going to be auditioning for the role of Wonder Man in universe, if that makes sense. There we go. Mando Pirate. I'm only watching Ironheart for my boy. Oh, Alden Ehrenreich's in it, huh? Young Han. All right, I'll take that. So there you go. So we got one more time going through it. 7 new shows starting with What If Season 3, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart, Eyes of Wakanda, Marvel Zombies, Wonder Man. It's almost like Disney Plus wants to go out of business. I do not understand this slog of a lineup. I think this might be the most saturated Marvel or Star Wars lineup since Disney Plus's debut. Anyone else? Doesn't it seem a little heavy? I mean, to roll out 7 shows essentially in a year's time from December 24 to December 25. I just realized I haven't recorded my stem, so yay me. There's always a fuck up here, my friends. You gotta love the Star Wars Time Show. I just gotta let Nick know that I forgot to record mine. So we don't need to record stems at all. We'll just use the YouTube audio for the podcast only version. Apologies, podcast fans, because I know the quality is not as great. But hey, shit happens, especially when you have an idiot running your technology, and that's me. All right, so that's kind of my take on the MCU stuff. I think it's too much. I do think some of the series look interesting. Daredevil probably being number 1, then What If, then Zombies. Outside of that, don't really have a strong pull to any of those. And I'll tell you right now, young Nick could give 2 shits. I will speak his mind for him. He told me I'm allowed to do that when it comes to Marvel properties. I guess the one cool thing about Wonder Man and its meta-ness is that Ben Kingsley's character from Iron Man 3, and I know he showed up again in a recent movie, he's going to be in it too, obviously as an actor working with Yaha's character and all that stuff. This just seems like a slog. This is something you would probably expect to be spread out over at least 2 years. But for you Marvel fans, you know what? I'm not going to piss on your parade. If this gets you jazzed, if you're getting moist down below the belt, or if you're getting a little THO or getting chubby over this stuff, good for you. Don't let me steal your joy. I mean, I got no beef with you all getting excited about this. I just think, me personally, it's a little too much, and I just, outside Deadpool and Wolverine, there's not much you can kind of hang your fan hat on with the MCU. Really since what, 2018, 2019, when everyone saved the people from the blip, which sucks because, hot damn, man, the first 3 phases of the MCU were just absolutely spectacular. Some of the best kind of disjointed storytelling and being able to bring it all together. I mean, all those movies, there's like, 39 movies brought together in a fantastic end through Infinity War and then Endgame. It's sad what the MCU has become. Hey, B-Mad's up in here. Hey, brother. Yep, just me today. Young Nick should be here in time for the tear-off or the pissing match between ourselves to rank the 11 live-action Star Wars flicks. So, good to see you, brother. Thank you for the donation. We speak your name. And B-Mad, they're only excited for Spider-Man. So, hey, to each their own, like I said. All right, so there you go. There is my spiel on the MCU mega dump that, again, was forced because of a leak. So let's get into a little bit of Star Wars time. There's always time for Star Wars time, if you know what I mean. All right. So this one here, it probably depends on your age, on how much this may even resonate with you. There we go. Ben, Ray, they're all over. They're on top of it. Ben's got it. Teek. If you don't know who Teek is, look it up. Teek, and then do yourself a favor and try to watch the Battle for Endor, which I do believe is on Disney Plus. So the big news here is that the Teek, that's what they're calling it. I don't know. I always thought his name was just Teek. But in this article, and even the guy that directed the episode that Teek is going to show up in, they're calling the Teek. I mean, it literally says Star Wars Skeleton Crew will bring back the Teek from Ewok movie, The Battle for Endor. I am of the 80s, born in 80, so I definitely was watching the Ewok TV movies. It was Band of Courage or something like that, and then the Battle for Endor. Battle for Endor was always my favorite. You had that witch. You had Sarek. He was like this crazy skeleton-looking meanie. You had the Ewoks. You had this family that crash landed there with Sindel, and I forget her brother's name. Sindel. Obviously, Wicket had a starring role in there. But then there's this Teek character. And he was a rough-looking puppet. You can see the image here on the live stream. He's sitting there with his boy Wicket. But Teek, apparently, they're another alien species that lives on Endor, and they're super fast. They're the speedsters of Endor. They're the speedsters of the Star Wars galaxy. So that's right. Thank you, B-Mad. B-Mad saying Ewoks coming back. I have a chance to be cast for a role. That is a shot at my extremely diminutive height, and I do not disagree, B-Mad. Good one there. Although, I don't know, how tall are you? Are you just tall and skinny, or are you short and skinny? Because I've seen pictures of you, pal. I don't know how tall you are either. See me wagging my finger at you? So if you like the old Ewok movies, you got to get a little jazz that Teek is coming back, and he's going to be in Skeleton Crew. So it's like, how is he going to get in there? Are we going to Endor? Or is Teek left Endor? That's exciting. I mean, to me, to think that we could be returning to Endor in the Mandoverse timeline and running into Teek, that's pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. I would definitely love to see this because, Teek was definitely a character that stood out. I'll never forget the guy because, he was always kind of messing with the Ewoks, messing with Wicket, messing with the humans, kind of stealing shit. And then again, he's super fast. So he's definitely coming back. He's going to be in an episode directed by filmmaker David Lowery. And Lowery's like, listen, man, we are going practical all the way. My episode, he basically just said my episode is the puppet episode. So I really do. It does feel like we could be going to Endor because I don't you see what Teek looks like. You see Ewoks. They're not spacefaring races. They don't have spaceships. So unless Teek is enslaved or captured somewhere for some reason, I gotta lean towards we may be going to Endor in Skeleton Crew, which I think could be pretty rad. Yeah, I mean, Mando, who knows? I mean, he could get off world, like I said. I don't know if it would make sense if they build their ships and they're taking off, but maybe if he was captured, taken into slavery, who knows? I could buy that. Or more importantly, especially for my love of Return of the Jedi, I would like a return to Endor. I think that would be beautiful, especially if they actually went back to the redwoods where they filmed a lot of the Return of the Jedi scenes. So there we go. B-Mad saying B-Mad is tall and skinny. If you've seen The Bug's Life, the movie, my stature is similar to the stick bug. I like that one, B-Mad. Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, so Teek's coming back, and it does sound like this super speedy Endor native is going to be a kind of a main fixture of the episode that he is going to return in. And they will be puppets, just like they were back in the 80s. But David Lowery's saying they're much better. They're a little more technical. Because as we were talking in our Discord, which, hey, if you want to join, it's open. We've got a link down here in the description of either the vertical version or the horizontal version of this live. And one other thing I'd like to pitch, if you do like this shit that we do and you want to get yourself a cool looking emoji next to your name or fan badge and then get access to special emojis, we'd love for you to consider joining the SWTS membership drive. That's right, my friends. We got 3 tiers, $1.99, $4.99, $9.99, and you can be a supporter of the SWTS. You get those badges, you get some other perks. It just makes me feel not like a loser and loved. So if anyone would be willing to contribute a membership to the channel, we'd appreciate it. No worries, though. No obligations. My happy ass will keep doing this every Wednesday, probably until I die or my wife tells me to fucking stop. All right? So there you go. Yeah, B-Mad, check him out. B-Mad, he's showcasing all of the special emojis you get as being a super fan. So appreciate all you that are already members. And like I said, if you've been on the fence or thinking about it, we'd appreciate you hitting that button and forking over whatever you can afford a month to keep this thing going. That's right. Noi. I love you people. All right. God bless Howard Stern. So there we go. Teek coming back. Going to be featured in an episode, and it sounds like there's going to be a lot of other puppets. So that's what I'm saying. We're either going to see the Teeks, like the species Teeks, more than just Teek, or it could be Teek and seeing some Ewoks. I mean, how cool would it be to get Warwick back in the Wicket costume? I mean, come on, people. Come on, people. Let's go. Teek all the way. I'm kind of excited for this. I like that. I like to hear this about Skeleton Crew, that we are going to weave in a character from way back. Not canon technically, but Teek will be canonized come Skeleton Crew's debut on December 3rd. Which is coming up quick, my friends. December 3rd will be here before you know it, if you think about it. So back to the grind for Matt. That's right, the old guy staring at clouds. Early Wednesdays, cranking out content not many people will see. Not because it's bad, but because the algorithms don't really let it get beyond the publish button. So all of you diehard supporters, don't forget, if you're a subscriber or a member, turn on those notifications. When something new comes through, try to leave a comment, share, like, all that fun stuff. So the Benjamin, they're also quite excited for Skeleton Crew. I'm with you. I think, and we know, listen, we know the wackos of the Star Wars fandom. They're going to find something to hate on. They're going to find something to divide the fan base on. And they're probably going to go after the child actors. There's nothing we can do for these people anymore, okay? Just go into it. If you like it, that's all that matters. Actually, if I like it, that's all that matters. Because I'll like it. Young Nick, he's always lukewarm on this stuff. That's why it was kind of fun when Acolyte came out and he actually liked it, because it's a lot more fun to talk to someone that actually enjoys the thing you're talking about. So that's right, Divided. Let me tell you a secret. Some of the elder statesmen and women that are fandos, it only gets quicker the older you get. And 100% when you hit 40, that whole over the hill thing really smacks you in the face. And at this point in time, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to see within the next few months. Like, that's how quickly my eyesight is going. And yeah, I should be wearing bifocals, but I refuse to because I'm an asshole. All right, so Teek coming up in Skeleton Crew, great news. Let's get a few more other low-hanging fruits here while we wait on young Nick. And these are about the Rey movie. Okay, Rey movie supposed to be coming out in 2026. It's now almost the end of 24. Script still isn't done, and as we learned a few days ago, they lost another creative. This kind of seems to be the thing these days at Lucasfilm when it comes to new Star Wars movies. Unless Dave or Jon Favreau are involved, it seems these things can't get off the fucking ground. They can't get out of the writer's room. People can't agree. People either get fired or let go or quit. And it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of a bummer. And you do have to question Kathleen Kennedy's leadership a bit. Now, I'm not one of these nut jobs that think she's the Antichrist of Star Wars and ruined everything, but I do think she has made some questionable management decisions in her tenure running Lucasfilm. The first being the whole just complete shit show decision for the sequel trilogy to decide, yeah, let's pick 3 different directors and 3 different writers to create a cohesive trilogy. That was just dumb as shit. And then she makes all these announcements and rah-rahs everything, and then something happens with the creatives or the project falls away, and it just looks bad. I mean, it's bad PR. I don't care what everyone's saying. So I don't know what the hell is going on there. I don't know why these people can't agree. Where the hell is Dave Filoni, the chief creative officer? He should be in there kind of playing mediator on these types of projects, because what happened 5 days ago, it's reported here from Puck News that Stephen Knight, who was the screenwriter hired to take over for Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson, is now leaving himself. So since this project has been announced, it's lost its first set of writers and now its second screenwriter. There's still no real date, any concrete information. Script clearly isn't done, although Daisy has said, she's seen some things, she's read some things. You have that stuff going on out there. But I hate to say it, just what's happening with the Rey movie is not good. It does not bode well for its release in theaters. I'm not saying I think it's going to get shelved, because I do think they really want to get the 3 movies they announced 2 years ago going, the Dawn of the Jedi, the New Jedi Order, and then Dave's second Mandalorian movie. But when you have this type of shit going on and you can't even get the production off the ground, I don't have a lot of faith. And if you look at the track record of Lucasfilm when it comes to movies, how can we have faith? There hasn't been a movie since 2019. And all the movies announced, hell, as early as 2016, 2017, are gone, not talked about, buried under some bridge in New York City. I don't know. Where's the Rian Johnson trilogy? Where's Taika's movie? Don't forget the Game of Thrones bros that were doing a movie. Rogue Squadron. Okay, people? You see what I'm saying here? So whenever we start to get some of this stuff and the news of creatives leaving and scripts not being done, or, oh yeah, I like it, but it's not ready, I don't know when we're shooting, it's not a good sign, okay? I'm not saying here like it's for sure, the Rey movie is for sure not going to happen, because I do think everyone wants it to happen. I just don't know what's going on at Lucasfilm these days. Like, and I hate the narrative around Kathleen Kennedy that, she's just some woke woman that doesn't know what she's doing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, as a human, it's pretty clear now she's mismanaging some of this stuff. Mismanaging it. I mean, straight up. And Bob Iger lets it roll, and he's fucked some stuff up too. So, I mean, he's not untouchable in this. But this is not good news. But a few days later, if we just scroll up on Star Wars Leak, there's lovely Miss Daisy Ridley right there. Speaking of which, our boy Devin Doty got to meet Daisy, I believe, a week ago. So kudos to him. Kicking ass there. We're jealous of you, Devin. We speak your name. But she was talking to this Josh Horowitz guy, Happy, Sad, Confused. And it obviously was being asked about the Rey movie, and she was kind of hesitant, and I took it as like she knows more than she's allowed to tell, which I guess is a good sign. But she says, we're waiting for imminent news, I would say. I might have already seen something. There might be a date of when we're, the next stages. So that's either just a straight non-answer because nothing really is happening, or something is happening. It's good. We have positive momentum, and Daisy Ridley is just not allowed to let it loose yet. But she is teasing, imminent news. Could it be a poster, a release date, a shooting date? If they are still trying to release this movie in 26, because you gotta remember, here's the cadence. We're gonna get Mandalorian Grogu May of 2026. There was an open slot December 26 for another Star Wars film, and many people believed it was the Daisy movie, the Rey movie, because that one, in regards to Dawn of the Jedi and then the second Mando movie, they're not even being really discussed at this point. Where the Rey movie, it had writers, it sounded like they were ready to start shooting this year, and then whatever, shit got fucked up and it fell through. So I would say if they don't start shooting by the end of this year or early in January of 25, I don't know how we get this movie in 2026. Although JJ somehow got The Rise of Skywalker done in like a year and a half. So it can be done if somehow Palpatine returns and you have a kind of a horrendous exclamation point to your sequel trilogy. So the Rey movie, my friends, I hate to tell you, it's in the same Twilight Zone as all the other announced movies. And it may be going the way of the Ryan movie, the Taika movie, where it's just never talked about again, like it never existed. It's going to go hang out with Jimmy Hoffa somewhere, so no one ever knows about it again or can find it. And it's kind of a bummer. I'd say one of the shining lights of the sequel to me was Rey. Loved Rey, especially in TFA, and then they kind of fuck her up by Tross. But I definitely would like to see what a more wise, aged Rey would do. What are we looking at in a sequel to The Rise of Skywalker? Evil has been vanquished in the galaxy, so what are we going to deal with? Is it going to hopefully not another rise of an imperial force? Hopefully not another remnant, but maybe an outside force coming in. You know what I mean? Like, it has the potential to kind of scratch the surface on something new, at least from an antagonistic standpoint. This Rey movie could finally get away from the whole, it's the little rebels against the evil empire, the evil order. It could be, it's this galaxy versus the Yuzan Bong or something like that. And I think that would be pretty awesome. We just need Lucasfilm to get its collective heads out of their asses. And, let's get some rubber hitting the road here and actually start shooting these goddamn movies. You know what I want? All right. Yeah, so I mean, look, fandos, they're excited for it. I'm excited for it. It's hard for me to really believe any of this shit anymore. Like I told Nick last week and all you, until we get a poster or a trailer, I don't believe any of this shit is going to see the light of day. At this point in time, I think the only content that's guaranteed for us is going to be Andor Season 2 in 25. And then the Mandalorian Grogu movie is spring of 26. Outside of that, everything's a crapshoot. That's me, and that's pessimism. But that's how I've survived most of my life. Yeah, Nova Toymation. Rey versus the Teeks. Kind of sounds like a punk band name, if you will. All right, so that gets us the Star Wars stuff done, right? We got that. We got the Skeleton Crew. Come on, young Nick, we're at you, buddy. Is he getting any closer? I'm starting to run out of gas here. I do this for a living. I mean, I lectured today for almost 2 hours, so that's probably not helping. The old diaphragm and lungs blowing out all this hot air nonsense to you all. I'm doing my best. That's right, B-Mad. B-Mad, he's not even going to believe it until he gets a damn trailer. That's it. And I'm with you, and I kind of think that's where we have to be. All right, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into some Ask Us Anything. We got about 15 minutes, hopefully, before Nick gets here. Could be a good time to transition into that. Yeah. So the Benjamin, you're feeling me, dude. Let's have a new antagonist. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's get away from dark versus light, rebels versus Imperials, resistance versus the Order. We need a new threat, and Rey and her new band, the Jedi, are the only ones that can deal with the threat. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Jared. I appreciate you, buddy. We did consider, and this is what you miss if you're not a part of the SWTS Discord community, I did consider bringing my man Sir Dork on. If you're not familiar with Sir Dork, check him out. He's 100,000 large on YouTube. Got a massive following on Instagram. He is one of the premier toy photographers out there when it comes to action shots and badassery. I was going to bring him on, but doing a lot of tech shit today. And like, you know what? I don't want to stress him out. I don't want to stress myself out. So I decided to roll solo like a Mac Daddy. But I need my man Nick to get here soon because I honestly feel like my head's going to hit the table. I'm running on fumes, people. Got to remember, I'm an intermittent faster, so not a lot of calories in this body, if you know what I mean. But you know what? Let's get into some subscribing. There you go. I'm going to try to get your subconscious with my subscribe message there. Don't forget those notifications. But let's go ahead and bring up our Slack screens here. Take the browser down. We'll get to some questions from the fans. And there was a good chunk of them. Maybe Nick will show up before we get through here. But I will gladly start to handle these for you all. So first one. Oh, sorry. Told you it's coming. A lot of air's getting sucked in. I learned from the best. I mean, that's a Howard Stern trick to belch on air. It supposedly adds to the ambiance. But we got my man Cyan XTC asking, which would you be, a vampire or werewolf? Pretty good question, especially for this time of year. We got Halloween coming up tomorrow here in the States. Is Halloween is it a global holiday? I'm stupid. It feels like an American kind of hallmarky thing, but I'm assuming maybe it has roots in the old world. Anybody know? All right, let me know. But when it comes to vampire werewolf, that's tough, man. I'm gonna go right to the Underworld franchise, which I absolutely love. You know, Selene, played by damn it, what's her name? She's so pretty. Kate Beckinsale. If I could be those vampires, I think I would choose vampire. I don't want to be like a Bram Stoker type of Dracula vampire. Like, I want to suck your blood, wearing that stupid costume and cape. If I could be an underworld vampire, a death dealer, if you will, that's what I would want to be. All right, we're getting some updates here. It's only an American thing, as I kind of figured. It's like, hey, let's commercialize something so people spend money. Capitalism, rah! B-Mad going vampire all day. Werewolves are just furries. League also correcting us. Yep, USA only thing. And then it's commercialized everywhere else. Mando Pirate saying the roots of it come from Ireland. See, if you're new here on the SWTS, you're going to get educated, my friends, in more than just Star Wars. League's asking, how about Interview with a Vampire in the AMC version? I mean, even what was Tom Cruise's vampire's name? It's not Lamette, but for some reason that's coming to mind because of a character on the Stern Show. But vampire from Underworld, straight up. And I probably would lean vampire more often than not, because while werewolf, I don't think you have to suck blood to kind of survive and sustain yourself. I would not want my body to break itself every time I needed to change into a lichen or something. So I'm sticking vampire. They got the superpowers and all that fun shit. So yeah, vampire. Thank you. Lestat, there you go. Thanks, Bat. Lestat, there we go. The old brain just ain't. It's not able to recall like it used to. It's kind of disappointing, to be honest with you all. Okay, this comes from Michael Kramer 98. Do you think the Rey movie will get shelved? See the last segment, Michael. I kind of laid into it. I don't think it's going to get shelved. Delayed, most definitely, unless they kind of get their get off the pot and get moving early in 25. Another one here, Abigail Sky. What are your favorite movies to watch around Halloween? You know what, Abby? I have to tell you, or Abigail, I outside of Christmas time, I'm not much of a holiday movie type of guy, meaning I don't have movies that I have to watch when a certain time of year rolls around outside of Star Wars. So when Christmas time rolls around, with my profession, I get a month off. So over that month, I've made it my mission to watch all of the live action Star Wars movies. And these days, sometimes sprinkling in some of the shows where it makes sense during Christmas. That I do. And I'm not going to lie. If there's a Vanessa Hudgens Christmas movie on Netflix, I'm watching that too. I absolutely love some of that stupid shit on Netflix around Christmas time, like the Princess Switch or the Princess something, and it's all kind of like its own little Netflix holiday universe. I'll get into that. When it comes to Halloween, I'd say over the past 2 years, it's been watching a Terrifier movie. When I was young, it was probably The Great Pumpkin, the Charlie Brown special. And I guess just because I watched it in October, Beetlejuice. But there's definitely not movies I'm like, ooh, I gotta watch this in October. And I know, I mean, there's some people that we follow on Instagram, they have a movie to watch all 31 days throughout the month. And yeah, listen, I think that's great. But for Halloween, no, nothing that I feel like I have to watch. But if Terrifier 4 is out next year, I'll probably go check it out. Did the Scream movies used to come out during Halloween? Maybe that would count too. You never know. All right, let me take just a quick little breath without having dead air. I'm trying to figure this out. There we go. Yeah, Nova Toymation getting in Terrifier 1 and 2. Have you seen the third one yet, Nova? Holy shit. Whoa! You've got to be a disturbing person to make those films, and possibly even more disturbing to watch those movies. And that's me. Hello. Welcome, my friends. Okay, next question we have coming. Another one for Michael Kramer. All right. This one for Nick. How many tats do you have? Enough. Did that sound like Nick? Was my impression of Nick good? Enough. And Matt, do you think we will see Null again in the MCU? I'm being asked that question in particular because Mike knows I went and saw Venom 3, and Null is kinda the big bad, sorta. I have no clue who he is. Apparently he was played by Andy Serkis. He's trapped on some planet. He's the father of the symbiotes and some of these other crazy looking like praying mantis aliens that can't be killed. Do I think we'll see Null again in the MCU? If Venom 3 makes enough money. That's my answer. If Venom 3 makes enough money. Next question. Oh, from Nova. Pumpkin beer. Yes, no, or get out. All right. Richard Christie. I love pumpkin beer. I love all beer. I just love drinking. It's my favorite. No, pumpkin beer to me is a get out. I'm an IPA guy. It's got to be IPA. Like, I even struggle to drink light beer these days. Used to drink some Coors Light. That was kind of my go-to. And I guess these days, if I still have to have a light beer, or if I don't want to feel like complete shit the next day from drinking high alc IPA, I'll have some Coors Light. But I need that hoppiness, you know, and I don't want to taste cold, the cold inside of a pumpkin. I never really understood the fascination with the pumpkin taste, to be honest with you. I can tolerate it in small instances, but not a big pumpkin pie guy. None of this pumpkin spice latte shit. I can't even drink caffeine. So, this one's a get out. So, tell Richard to pour it in his asshole. All right. That's my best Richard Christie impression. Oh, there we go. Bat coming through with an update here for those that care about Null. It might be in the new Avengers movie. All right. Hey, B-Mad asking, pecan pie or apple pie? Glad you asked. This is an important question, and I need to kind of make this statement. Fruit is not a dessert. Fruit is not a dessert. So any dessert that incorporates fruit in it and is trying to be passed off as a dessert is bullshit. All right? Bullshit. Apple pie to me is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen, touched, or tasted. Warm apples are not right. Apples aren't meant to be warm unless you're turning them into a hot cider. But a warm, like mushy apple, get the fuck out of here. Like the texture's wrong, the taste is wrong. It's bad. I don't like apple crisp, apple pie. Fuck it. No fruit in desserts. Desserts need to be bad sugar, saturated fats, a bunch of triglycerides. We don't need fruit in desserts. I hate fruit desserts. Fruit tarts. Fuck fruit. Fruit's good on its own. It's a healthy dessert. It's a nice little snack. It's not what you want when you say I need a dessert. If someone brings me a fruit for dessert, I'm going to fucking knock it out of their hands. Okay? That's right. League, you are correct. Fruit is not a dessert. Everyone needs to understand this. Thank you. Bat, 100%. Pineapple on pizza, because pizza's not a dessert, and pineapple, especially with some bacon and ham, tastes really freaking good on a pizza. A Hawaiian pizza is okay, but I'm not eating fruit for dessert. I'll have fruit for lunch. I'll have fruit after a cup of yogurt, but I'm not going to say, oh, I'm thinking about dessert. I'll have some fruit. No. Get the hell out of here. Parfaits with chocolate and fruit? No. Chocolate, sure. Fruit, no. Like, dude, I'm not kidding. Like that, I know this might seem like I'm playing around. I fundamentally do not think fruit is a dessert. I don't want it in a dessert. I want bad shit in a dessert. And I know fruit, if overdone, can be bad for you too. It's a lot of sugar. But it ain't the cancerous causing sugar that you can get in a tub of ice cream or a cake, something like that. Those are desserts. Fruit pies are not. Pecan pies are good. Thank you. Man, you guys got me all over the place. Great question. Whoever asked that. Even the chat's active here. League, you're from New York. I understand why you're not going to put pineapple on pizza. But when you live in the Midwest and you don't really have eclectic pizza shops to go to and you got to fucking have Domino's, you got to dress that shit up, okay? You got to dress it up. So we're going to throw some pineapple on it every once in a while. But if you really want to know my favorite pizza order or pizza, it's Grotto Pizza. They're out in the state of Delaware. And they're just plain cheese, I think, is fucking magical. If I'm doing a topping pizza these days, I have kind of folded pepperoni back in. Do some pepperoni, either red or green pepper, some onions, maybe some black olives. I kind of like the supreme type of shit. You know what I mean? There we go. I do put ketchup on hot dogs. We discovered that a few weeks ago, Bat. You're not going to shame me. Oh, Cole Cowan. Yeah, well, there you go. I got triggered, Cole. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, he did only ask me if I like pumpkin beer. And then someone in the chat was asking about pecan pie or apple pie. And I just went absolutely batshit. B-Matt, I could do that. Some pepperoni, bacon, and spinach. No doubt. I like that. I like the idea of spinach on a pie. Yeah, every once in a while, some banana peppers, maybe a jalapeno to spice things up. But to me, I think really pizza is best enjoyed either plain or with a little bit of, just a pepperoni slice. If the sausage is good, go ahead and throw some of that on there. Oh, mushrooms too. You got to have mushrooms on a pie. All right. I don't even know what type of show we're doing anymore. We're just trying to kill time. It is 6 o'clock. Young Nick still isn't here, so I have no clue what the hell's going on. And I may be getting into a Star Wars quiz here after we run out of questions. All right, Abby, getting another question here. You get invited to a potluck. What dish do you bring? Well, not a fruit dessert. Okay, that's for sure. Pecan is a fruit. Well, it's the right kind of fruit. Then I don't believe it. I thought a pecan was a nut. Isn't a pecan a nut, or am I crazy? Oh shit! Someone's calling in. Oh, hold on. Let's bring Nick into the chat here. Let's bring him in. Hold on. We got to switch some things around. Go ahead and clarify yourself, good buddy. Yeah, a little blurry. There he is.
All right.
There he is. And look at that. Even on the vertical stream, it doesn't look all janky this week. Nick worked with me last week when he was working. I got to see his work attire. He's got a special work outfit that was pretty awesome.
That's right.
Maybe one day he'll bust it out for the show. But it looks good. You're perfect in the window, so life is good. You're showing up well in the horizontal. Good to see you, buddy. Don't worry about recording your mic stream because my dumb ass forgot as soon as I told you to remember. So yay, Star Wars time.
There we go. There we go. It's nice to be with the crew. I literally just finished work and started to roll in here. So,
my man. Well, your fans are happy. Ben Rye's like, OMG, the star of the show has arrived. B-Mad Young Nick has been summoned by the Jedi Council. He is here. And Nick, we're just kind of rolling through the last bit of usually our opening hour. I kind of saved the questions for last so you can kind of get involved in some of these last ones. But we have this, or I have made the declaration, and I have a feeling you're not going to like it, but fruit is not a dessert, okay? Apple pie, fuck that. Warm fruit, not good. Desserts should be bad sugar, fats, stuff like that, okay?
I typically am agreeing with you there.
All right.
Typically agreeing with you there. But I will say that like I do snack on fruit. Like
exactly. But not as a dessert. It's like, hey, you have it with lunch or breakfast. You know, it's a healthy snack. It's not a dessert. We want ice cream. We want cake. We want snacky cakes, right? We don't want fruit.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Good.
That's how it is.
I knew young Nick would say the right thing.
So where are we at in terms of the question responses?
We just got to this question, and I have not answered it yet. It's coming from our dear friend, Divided Skywalker, a.k.a. Abigail Sky. You get invited to a potluck. What dish do you bring young Nick?
Okay.
Say crawfish.
No, crawfish pasta. No.
Gumbo.
My go-to is like a fruit cobbler. Like I found a really easy to make and awesome recipe.
After we just shit on fruit for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. But that's my go-to, like a blueberry cobbler, a peach cobbler, apple cobbler, something like that is usually what I'll bring. But then Taylor also has a really good like baked macaroni and cheese recipe. So yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't. Do you have a family jambalaya or gumbo recipe?
Not that like maybe my mom has one, but typically when we're making it, we have like a recipe book that we bought from a bookstore in New Orleans that was written by like a UNO professor who is also like an incredible cook. So we usually use that for any like New Orleans specific dishes. Yeah.
Got you. So Nick, I got the new chat system set up, which still doesn't merge the chats, but we now can feature them on screen, and I kind of have a doc that I see. I could turn on like auto. Just anytime they chat, they just pop up, but I was like, I don't know if we should do that. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know what someone could say, but
somebody pops in and then drops something inappropriate, and then we're just insta banned. It's over for us.
But it is nice. I like it. It actually was pretty easy to set up, and so I finally feel like our switch to vertical and horizontal might be settled from a tech standpoint. The only problem is, I don't know about you, but like if you set up a new software, new app, new tech, do you kind of get OCD with all the settings that are possibly made available to you, or are you just like, hey, if it works, it fucking works?
I usually get a little like I definitely do a settings pass and make sure that everything is fine.
Or like you at least know where the settings are. It's like anytime I get something new, even I was talking earlier, even if it's an air fryer or toaster oven, I'm gonna know what every button does, even if I never have to use those buttons. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and like I typically like if it's a new piece of hardware or something like that, I'll keep the manual just in case I'm in a situation where I'm like, why is this thing blinking this color? Let me look it up.
Right.
So
all right. Yeah. No. This new little software is awesome. Anyone that does streaming and you want kind of to be able to pull in chats from, we could be doing Twitch right now, Facebook, everything would be, we would at least see it and could share on the screen. It's called Social Stream Ninja. This developer out there makes it free, and they are a kick-ass human. a kick-ass human. And the vertical stuff's working, man. It's pulling people in. We've already got almost 200 views on the vert, 33 on the horizontal. Last week between the two, we're like almost 400 total. So it was worth the nightmare. It was worth the headache. It was worth the janky looking vertical we did last week. And let me answer mine so we can move on. I would, Nick said the mac and cheese. I'll go with let's do a good chili or a tortilla soup. Chili or tortilla
that's
soup.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Tortilla soup. That was like one of my mom's favorite things to make. I mean, I don't know if she still makes it. She could for sure still make it.
Did she do like the creamier cheesy style, like orange, or was her more like a soup tortilla soup?
Yeah, hers was more like a soup, like a real soup. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because one of my favorite is the oh shit, it's from GFS. I don't know if you have GFS in Texas or down south. It's like a global food supply. It's like bulk food shit. But they have a tortilla soup that this restaurant Max and Irma's used to serve, and my dad worked there. I got to eat there for free, so naturally that's my favorite type, and I kind of need to eat it because that's more like the cheesy, thick tortilla soup. And then you throw in those tortilla strips. Ooh,
yeah, that sounds good.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Nova's asking, is it possible to start live streaming on IG with the merged chats? Yeah, I just got to figure out how to stream to IG, which I don't know if they accept stream keys.
Yeah, I don't know how IG streaming works. I know that there was something we explored the possibility of like a multi-stream before, and I know that there is a plugin for OBS or some sort of something like that allows you to stream to different platforms. But that's like a whole other.
I mean, honestly, I think these days you can you can add a bunch of different streaming services and just change your stream key. But who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, IG used to be our mega platform. It's kind of dead. I know that's where we send most of our communications through, but I think even if we stream there, we get a person.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
I'll think about it. If it's not too much of a nightmare that's going to waste another 2 days of my life, maybe. But I'll look into it. It's something we can look into. All right.
I'll answer one previous question because I see that Kramer asked me how many tattoos that I have. I have 9 tattoos.
Okay, perfect.
I have 9 tattoos, and of the 9 tattoos, let me count how many are Star Wars related. So I count this one. It's hard. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera. That's two individual tattoos that I got at the same time. One of the Death Star and one of a Star Destroyer. So I'll count those as 2. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 of my 9 tattoos are Star Wars tattoos. So more than half of my tattoos are Star Wars tattoos.
Excellent. See, Nick he's nothing but fan service. So he is here for you.
So which one is my favorite?
You got it.
So it's the one that I just showed. It's my forearm tattoo of the Death Star and of the Star Destroyer. And this one, I love this one so much because it was a stick and poke tattoo. So this whole tattoo was done by one girl with one needle that she was just holding with her hand and poking me with doing the tattoo. This is your
most recent too, right?
This is my most recent one as well. Yeah. So it's super, like, it's really hard to hold it up to the camera, but it's super detailed. The line work is absolutely incredible. This looks like a better like this. I have the ROTJ Death Star, so the Death Star that is partially destroyed or not fully completed, and the line work on it is absolutely incredible. I mean, this girl is extremely talented. It was a really different way to get a tattoo because all of my other tattoos have been gun, like just with a regular tattoo gun. But like watching her sit there and just like individual pokes the whole time, it took about 3 hours to get it done. But it was a really cool experience.
Amen. Not me. I'm still a clean canvas, mostly because I just don't know what I want. And I don't want to put something on that I'm not going to love or think is badass. So I'm just, the one I would get, Nick knows exactly what it is, but someone already has it, so you can't have it.
Yeah, I know. Is it? You have to rip the skin off of Ryan's arm.
Dude, you should see his arm now. I mean, I think the sleeve's complete, but he's got a great Leia portrait on there now with that Vader, and he's got like an X-Wing. It's fucking badass. I'm a big puss. It's not the pain. I think I would love the pain. It's just, I struggle, as you can see in our layout here. I'm not very good at graphical arts and coming up with that type of shit. I really do think our stream looks like it was designed by a 44-year-old white man. It's ghetto. I need some of you youngins to create me like a cool looking overlays that are a little bit more modern, but that's just who I am. Like I know what I like when I see it, but I can't kind of visualize and then tell someone what I want. So it would be, oh, I want that one that someone already has, and I don't want to be a fucking poser. You know what I mean? Yeah. So here we go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love tattoos. I see that League said that she has like a poke style Tabori tattoo, which I believe is the one where they have, and I'll look it up now. Yeah, it's the Japanese style poke tattoo, I think, where they're using like an implement, like it's like a longer stick implement, I think. But there's also a Maori style that is like, it's almost like looks like a back scratcher where they like tap it along your skin and do it that way. But yeah, I see somebody, BMAT said, get AI to do a tattoo for you. I told Matt before, we have some incredible artists in this community, in our community.
Hey, I've been busting out some sweet AI art. I've been sharing it in the chat. I seem to have a thing with Darth Vader riding on a unicorn. I'm not sure why, but that's what I keep creating. So,
but I think that if Matt reached out to somebody, like there was somebody who like agreed, that said that he would.
Yeah,
do a
Cody
tattoo
tweets. That's another like. Again, we are very good at sucking people in, and they're like, "Yeah, we love these guys," and then they're like, "Yeah, fuck it, who cares?" And they just disappear forever. So those that do stick around, come back each week, we owe you one. We probably should be paying you all instead of you all members paying us, to be honest with you. So
I'll tell you this too. I bet you Devin could whip you up a badass like vector art piece that you could get tattooed. Yeah,
that motherfucker. He these days he's hanging with Daisy Ridley at events and stuff. So I doubt
this guy. He's on the top of the world. He's on the top of the moon.
He is a dude. And our boy SW Props. I mean, he's basically just lives overseas now. I think he's been in Italy for like the past month running cons, and it's awesome what those dudes are getting into. Okay, we got a few more to get through here. Coming from Baron's Black Series, little boy, what's your favorite plane, Nick?
What is my favorite plane? Damn, I don't know if I've ridden on that many different kinds of planes.
I'd say jets would work too if you ever got into jets as a kid. I know I was big into jets through Top Gun and Iron Eagle. It was kind of a continuation of my love of Star Wars and the X-Wings and whatnot. Yeah, I mean,
like I would say that the F-35s are really cool. I think that's the vertical takeoff one. One of my friend Phil, that was one thing that he used to.
Well, don't get him killed.
Yeah, I can't say that. But that was one of his that was one of his primary things when we were in high school. He was like, I really want to go into aerospace engineering because I want to work on fighter jets. And that was, I believe it was the F-35 that was one of his favorites. And he like showed me videos of it and stuff like that. It was pretty awesome. So I'll say that one.
Yeah, see, like I said, I actually preferred Iron Eagle over the first Top Gun. I don't know why. That's how my little kid brain worked. So I'm probably going to go the F-14 or F-18, like the F-14 Tomcat from the original Top Gun. I mean, that's hard to hate. And then what's the successor to that? Is it the F-18?
It might be,
the Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet. So, yep, that's where I'm at on favorite planes there. Little Bennett, thank you for your question. Okay, EKU Rory, bar soap or liquid soap for showering? That's a quality one.
I use liquid soap now. I used to use bar when I was like growing up, but I think that like it's like almost harder to find like bar shower soap now.
Yeah, you got to
in
get that
stores.
Sasquatch brand that's only sold through Instagram or whatever. I think they have some Star Wars bars through it too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I saw that. So I use liquid soap now.
Again, I'm kind of a weirdo, but I prefer bar soap, but I use liquid soap, and there's a big reason for that. Bar soap makes a huge fucking mess. All right, it sits there and it crumbles, it sheds, so that you got extra soap scum cleanup to deal with. Where the liquid soap, as long as you're not an asshole and you can squirt it into your washcloth or your loofah or your oofa or your poofa, it's less messy. You may get some running down the side of the bottle or some dumb shit like that, but that's why I go liquid soap. But in a perfect world, if I didn't have to clean up bathrooms, I would go bar soap, because I like taking that bar, sticking it right in my armpits, sticking it right up my asshole, right in the taint. I just feel like you can get a little cleaner by jamming soap in your holes. But I do roll liquid these days just for the cleanliness factor of the shower, not myself. Okay. I need something because my BO is just absolutely awful these days. I don't know if it was COVID, but in my 40s, my body odor changed. And I think I need to go back to aluminum-filled deodorant that's going to give me cancer, because it's hard. If I actually had to leave the house to work, I would need to switch my deodorant. That's how bad of a problem it is. Okay, like right now, I'm already wafting up here. I put deodorant on; it doesn't matter. It just, the scent comes right through it.
I'm definitely grateful for the work from home for that in particular. I have a pretty lax dress code. Like I just put on a little like polo shirt or something if I have to be on camera for a meeting, but other than that, I can pretty much, I can work however I would like.
Lex Luthor style. That's all I'll say. All right, Beast Mobile coming at us here. Which Jedi would you want to train you in the way of the Force? It's a good one.
That is a really good question. Man, right? Like, where do you go with here? We've seen a lot of Jedi in the movies. We've seen a lot of Jedi in the shows. I mean, I think that I would really like to be trained by Qui-Gon Jinn, because I think that he has a very unique view of the Force, especially through a Jedi lens. So that would be my initial thought. But I also think it would be like, wouldn't it be badass if it was like you were trained by Jedi Revan before he fell? Yeah. And I know that technically, I can't remember exactly if Malik was his apprentice or just one of his fellow knights that they were both going out with, or if he was his master. But I think being trained by Jedi Revan would be fucking badass.
I like that. Here's mine, and it might shock some people, but I kind of want to take it this route to see where we go. Might be called woke for this. I'm going Rey. Rey is unencumbered by all the bullshit of her predecessors. It was made clear to her both through Jedi Master Luke and Yoda telling him, like, hey, man, we kind of fucked this shit up, so let's let this younger generation run with their way of mastering and relaying the concept of the Force to a new generation. So I would like to try Rey. Plus, she's easy on the eyes. I'd probably be I would be the Padawan that would always have to be bent at the waist because something would be happening down below the belt. So yeah, I'm going Rey. Thank you, B-Man. That was a fun one. And Baron, coming from the wife Blanche, best Halloween costume you had as a kid, Nick?
As a kid, that's a good. I think my favorite as a kid was probably Raphael from Ninja Turtles. All
right. So you were always a Raph guy? Turtle. You just like the attitude?
I was a Raph kid when I was a kid. Now, I think as you get older, everybody leans towards Mikey because you're like, dude, I just like, I get it. Cool. I just want to fucking chill and eat pizza.
Totally tubular.
Yeah, especially if you're a stoner. I feel like if you're a stoner, Mikey is your guy.
He's the guy. It's funny. I know this isn't a question, but my turtle was always Leonardo because for some reason I always feel like I should be a leader. So that's that. I've got a very inflated sense of myself. My best costume, as young as I was, and we all know the older you get, the less you remember as a young kid. But this one just stands out to me. I don't even know what age I was, maybe 4 or 5. But my mom made me a pimp ass NASA astronaut suit, like from the ground up. No store bought bullshit. My mom used to hand sew all of my costumes, probably up until middle school, when I was like, okay, I'm too cool for that shit. I'm just gonna throw in a Pirates jersey and go around and get free candy. But my mom made a custom NASA astronaut spacesuit. I remember the face mask. It was like this double-sided squishy material. It was just fucking badass. What a talented lady. So there you go. Thank you for bringing that memory back up. It's been a while. All right. Did we get them all there? I don't think we did.
I think there's a few there. Wow, there's way more at the bottom.
Well, I was hedging my bet here. We'll try to get through these quick.
Stacking them up a little bit.
We got to get moving here.
Yeah.
You know what, Bango? I'm going to pass on yours because that could lead to a deep conversation.
Super deep.
Yeah,
one.
but we love you, buddy. Maybe send it again next week. And this one's easy. David Chavez. We actually have some of these in our rainy day list of things to do. David's asking, Matt and Nick, can you maybe talk about the lore of some characters? I do think that would make for a fun special segment. So what I would ask of you all is either through our Discord or our social media channels or our website, StarWarsTime.net, reach out. Let us know which characters do you want us to take a deep dive on. Of course, we can choose our own, but I would kind of prefer to hear what you all would like. I mean, do you want the mains? Do you want some of the like more
obscure?
Yeah, like the shit Nick knows about.
Legends.
But
where do you want to go?
Yeah, I definitely think we could turn that into an hour segment. So I'm with you, David. We would love some feedback on which characters.
Yeah, give us a little direction.
And then Jared gets to end this one. What is a character from animation, games, comics, etc. that you'd like to see brought into live action?
Animation.
Games or
animation,
comics.
Games or live action. I mean, I think that the answer for me is Revan.
Yeah.
I think that's the easy answer for sure.
Pretty much it. All right, we're already getting some feedback. Obscure and Legends. Revan, Window, and Plo Koon. Let me.
I'll give you a quick ditty on one Legends character, and it's Darth Caedus. And Darth Caedus is Jason Solo. So Jason Solo, during the time period of the Legacy of the Force books, which were around the last ones that were written before the acquisition, it was really interesting how he fell, because he was a part of the Jedi Order, just like his sister Jaina. And at that time in the Jedi Order, they were allowing students, like exceptional students, to explore the dark side. With the help of approved trainers from the Jedi Order. And there was this woman her name was Vergere, who was a former acolyte of Darth Vader, who was actually worked with Darth Vader during his time as Dark Lord of the Sith. And Jason learned a lot about the dark side and how to harness it and the dangers of the dark side from Vergere, which eventually led to his fall and him becoming Darth Caedus. So I always thought that Jason Solo was a super interesting character, and I liked the way that his story played out in those books, especially the dynamic between him and his sister. So if you've never read anything about Jason Solo or Darth Caedus, like the two sides of Jason Solo, I would recommend doing it either through reading the Legends novels, the Legacy of the Force Legends novels, or just going to his Wikipedia page. Excellent character,
Bingo.
in my opinion.
So yeah, Nick, it looks like they're digging it. Be Mad already gave his stamp of approval. This is good. So yeah, we will do this, and honestly, we might be doing it next week because I'm kind of getting over the tier shit and pulling stuff out of my butt. So this is a nice focused topic. Maybe we pick 1, 2, 3 characters and spend some time on them, taking a deep dive. So appreciate it, David. Thank you, Nick, for giving them a tease of what that segment could be. That's how we do it here at the SWTS. We are all-stars. All right, man, it is time to switch back over to the browser. Let's put Slack to bed for now. I'm not going to do the quiz. Young Nick is here. In fact, I probably vamped for too fucking long, and big surprise, right? So it's time. We've made it. we're here. We've got 11 live action Star Wars movies to tier rank here. Battle it out. Maybe it'll be easy peasy. Maybe we will agree. Maybe we won't. I know we definitely won't once we hit the prequels. But it's time to tier rank the 11 Star Wars live action flicks. So why you say 11? Well, we're including Rogue One and Solo because you have to. They are a part of the party, and they are going to be played. As always, we will compare our board to what the fans filled out. The fans got their picks in over the last 24 hours. We had 111 votes, and I think the fans did an all right job, and it may look close to ours. You never know. Like I said, we will make sure to compare by the end. All right, Nick, we're just going to go in the order of the images, so it's going to be out of chronological order. No big deal here. And here we go. Up
all
first,
right.
The Rise of Skywalker. All right.
Jumping right in.
I mean, if you are a longtime fan of this show or have just been tuning in recently, it's pretty clear where I stand on this movie. It's one of the more disappointing films in all of the trilogies. I think it effectively sunk the sequel trilogy. It tarnished the character of Rey and who she could have been and become. It tarnished Vader's big win in Return of the Jedi. It used a fucking video game to reincorporate a dead corpse back into the franchise. Rey, you're a pal. I mean, just like I do not like The Rise of Skywalker. I'll admit it has some good moments. It's got some good visuals. The Battle of Exegol, sure. But in terms of pure narrative, I think it is ass. And honestly, Nick, I would probably start The Rise of Skywalker at a D. So have at it.
Yeah, I my initial thought for this was a C. I do think that it is. I mean, I think the sequel trilogy gets like every movie is kind of like when you rank it as opinion based, but I really think that of all three of the trilogies, the sequel trilogy might be the hardest in terms of like where people individually rank them. I kind of lean towards C tier a little bit. There are some good moments. I think that there's some good there's some good set pieces in there. There's some good planetary exploration. There's some I really think that a lot of people look at Tross and they think of like Babu Frick as something to hold on to. So
hey!
I kind of lean towards C, but I would accept D for this one. It is kind of hard to argue as like a full movie that this one's super good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna override the C. I'm sorry. I just this movie. It's become my least favorite Star Wars movie, and for the reasons I outlined. Like I had high hopes for the sequel trilogy. They had ground to make up what would happen in The Last Jedi. Not that I hate that film either, and they just pissed it away. And I think it shortchanges Kylo, shortchanged Rey. As I said, fucked my man Vader, even though last week we essentially turned him into the biggest bitch of the galaxy. I mean, we were so mean to Darth Vader last week. Make sure to check that episode out if you missed it.
I'm sure he cried about it in his helmet like he does sure everything else.
But then he got some rage from it, so he actually enjoyed it.
There you go.
Speaking of tier lists, the Beyond the Dune C team, they did one last week for lightsabers, and they get absolutely fucking nuts. And I think it's because they're in the same room, so you can kind of vibe off each other. But man, they had some fucking fights over those lightsaber hilts. But yeah, Tross, you know what? You suck. You're going D. I don't know if I could put a Star Wars live action into F, but we'll see. Maybe Nick can. All right, the next one we got. Oh, shit. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. Because our next one we know my friend does not appreciate at all, and it is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I'll give you a horrible title. Some of the worst visuals, some of the worst acting. Yep. But God damn it, man, it's got some B-movie charm that I cannot deny. I love how sloppy it is. I love how dumb it is. It has become a charming Star Wars movie for me. And it never was my least favorite prequel film. That's a freaking fact. I understand its wonkiness. I understand its overall kind of the overall opinion of the fandom when it comes to Attack of the Clones. This is usually the cellar dweller for most fans. It is not for me. The cheesiness brings charm to it. There are a lot of lightsabers being wung around. Yoda doing his thing with Dooku. I wish I could wish. It's
Matt's making my case for me. I don't even have to speak.
But I love it. Look, I'm smiling the whole time though. This is happy critique. Yeah. It makes me happy to talk about the wonkiness of Attack of the Clones. Therefore, I'm gonna give it a fucking B tier. Yeah.
So here's my argument here, and if I have an override, then I'm definitely using it here. Here's my argument: is that everything you laid out is you're basically saying it's so bad that it's funny to watch because of how bad it is.
I love it though, dude. I'm telling you, it's not even that. I just like to watch it. I look for the bad moments and appreciate the rest.
So for me, if we're trying to put some level
you tell me, man. If you think it's F tier, go for it.
It's 100% F tier. But this is just like kind of trying to baseline things for the rest of the movies. Like from a baseline perspective, this is by far the worst made Star Wars movie live action of all time.
I'll give you that.
So just like from a pure like execution of both a script, visual effects, acting, and any sort of coherence in a film, I think this is the worst out of all of them, and I don't think it's even questionable. So I'm just trying to lay a baseline, like the execution from step 1 to step 10 of this movie was awful. And while it may be charming to watch in some instances, like watching when they go through the fucking electrical field and they just go like the level of
Obi-Wan's
how bad
wig.
That it is,
I mean, the fact that Ewan had to wear that shit is like, what the hell?
Like the level of how bad it is definitely puts it into a category where like me and my friends, so this is something me and my friends used to do. We would get together every weekend and we would have what was called a shitty movie night. We used to work at a video store. That
sounds like a good time. Did you guys do drugs too? Or you just subjected yourself to shit?
No, I mean, we would get drunk. We would order pizza and we used to work at a video store. So we had access to all of these like super B movie things, like just like real bottom of the barrel stuff. And like, to me, that's what AOTC is. Like AOTC is the Star Wars movie that you watch that
it could be the star of shitty movie night though. That's got to give it some credit.
It gives it the F tier to me. So I would say that this is F. I think that this is just a horribly executed movie in every way. But you know, there I guess some of it can be enjoying to watch.
I'll tell you what, man, since I kind of took Tross to D, even though I'm not kidding, like AOTC, I think I did put in a B in my own vote. I will hear you, and I will hear the chat, and I will send Attack of the Clones to the basement.
Yeah, just for some level of like some grading level we had to put out there. We had to put.
Damn it! Now I want to move Tross down to F. I fucking wasted my card there. Oh man, poor Attack of the Clones, dude. I mean, you don't like that an assassin hired an assassin that then used a worm to try to kill Padme? You know, come on, that's great storytelling, dude.
That's definitely the best way that could have been done, right?
Dooku's like, hey, Django, kill Padme. Django goes, hey, Zam, kill Padme. Zam goes, hey, Robot, kill Padme. Robot goes, hey, Worm, kill Padme.
It's wild to me, too, because it's like, you have flying cars, and clearly a drone was able to just fly up to this window, cut a hole in it, and then let the worm its way in. Could you not just fly the car up to the window and shoot through it? Like, is that not just the easier way to do this?
Yeah, hey, I don't know, man. I mean, Nova's right. Would this movie at all did give us the seismic charge sound? I mean, does that get it up to a D, or did this thing's
not
locked
even
in
close?
F? All right, okay.
Not even close.
Okay, all right.
If we did a Star Wars sound effects ranking, I would put the seismic charge farther up there.
I think you just came up with a good tier list idea. Sounds of Star Wars. I'm writing it down. When we get into the
true doldrums of no Star Wars content,
that's where we're at, man. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Sound effects.
I spent time talking about Teek from the Battle of Endor coming back in Skeleton Crew. It's like, okay, that's the type of news we have these days. All right, here we go. Die, Jedi dogs. That's right. That's an AOTC too. Okay. Well, shit. We're getting some of the contentious ones done quick because now we got TLJ.
Yeah, I know, man. We're fucking
all right. So
it.
Here we go. The Last Jedi. Listen, I am not one of these people that watch this and then wanted to slit my wrists or kill people. I actually, my first screening, I was pretty high on it. I'm still fairly high on it, although it definitely has its issues when it comes to Luke. But I do think it's a different type of Star Wars movie, which I kind of appreciated. I like some of the risks Ryan took. I do think it had some great moments. I remember the first time I saw the opening and like how fucking anxious it made me. The first time I saw Finn potentially sacrificing himself, I definitely was like, oh shit. The first time you see Luke come and you wonder, okay, is that he did it? He came, he left Acto, and then you find out, no, he's just force projecting. I think a lot of that stuff was great. What Rey and Kylo did in Snoke's throne room, fucking awesome. Like, great moment, cool action, nice little duel. But I do take umbrage with the handling of Luke Skywalker. Not that he timed himself out. That's what his own masters did, so that made sense. It's always been the way he acted and the way he treated Chewbacca and Rey. All right, I get it that Luke felt like an asshole just like Yoda and Obi-Wan did and felt like, hey, I caused this. Why do I need... You don't need me. I'm better off being gone. But I did not like how he acted. I didn't like the fucking long hair. That even looked stupid. Luke Skywalker, while he would definitely get depressed, he would never be an arrogant jerk. All right? He would never be a dickhead to those in need, especially his sister. He would at least have heard what's going on. He wouldn't just be... It wouldn't the cursory, like, fuck you guys and throwing the lightsaber... All that shit's ridiculous for the character of Luke Skywalker. So I understand that beef. I don't understand all the hate directed at Rose, or what's her name? Who played Rose?
That was Kelly Marie Tran.
Kelly Marie Tran, and people wanting Rian Johnson to die and saying he has no talent. That's a bunch of horse shit. The Luke stuff, it kind of sucked. But I still think TLJ is a B tier type of Star Wars movie.
That's kind of where I was leaning as well. I think execution of filmmaking on this movie is pretty high. You know, I think that like Ryan, if nothing else, is a very technically sound filmmaker. Like he makes really like well shot and well put together films. And I think that my issues lie in the same area as yours do. Like, you know, the way that as soon as that movie kicked off and you see Luke just throw this lightsaber, like his family blade, like his father's blade, his blade, like, you know, just literally throw it away like it's a piece of garbage. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, is this like what's going on here? But there are some fantastic standout moments from this movie, like, you know, the Holdo maneuver as it's known now,
milking the siren to get the green milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
A day in the life of angry Luke.
Yeah. I think that was cool. I think that while Crate wasn't a battle, I think the visuals of Crate were very interesting and they used that landscape, or, you know, the landscape that they created in a very interesting way. I think that, you know, there's some weak points in the plot for me in the storytelling, especially individual arc storytelling. I think that shit really got out of whack with Finn. I think that's the movie that really fucked Finn hard. So I like the highest I can put it is B, and I think that it kind of deserves to be in B just because of the execution of the filmmaking. but I do have some issues with some of the storytelling in it. So I'll go B.
All right. Well, since we both went for it, then it is. B it is. I mean, that's where we are. I mean, like B-Matt's saying, it got me interested in the franchise again. Did you guys see the film premiere? I heard people cried. They were so opposite. I mean, I was there on opening night. I happened to be out in Vegas with the intern, and it was a packed house. And most people came away feeling pretty good. But I do remember, I believe I either texted young Nick or slacked him, and he was already like, yeah, I don't know, man. I liked it, but... he was doing one of those like
yeah. I mean, look, it's like, I feel like talking about the sequel trilogy is still kind of a hot button thing, and everybody has their own opinions on it, but that's how everything is.
It needs its
just
decade, just like the prequels did.
Yeah.
It needs to stew a bit.
Yeah, once it stews, I think that people will start to find appreciation for it. It seems like there are already people who are starting to find what they like about it, and what how they attach themselves to particular movies within that.
There is a sequel generation. I mean, my daughter technically is in it. I don't know if she gives a shit anymore about Star Wars, but there is that the group of kids. I mean, like the B-Mads of the world or the Connors, all growing up with the prequels. They're and me with the original trilogy. You're kind of the outlier where you're technically prequel gen, but someone got a hold of you and corrected you, and you watched the originals first.
Yeah, it was what I watched first is really kind of what led me.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean,
TLJ, we can put in an agreed upon B. All right.
Yeah, I think it deserves to be in the middle. I'll say it that way. Like, I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the worst. I think it's somewhere in the middle, and I don't think that. Like I don't think that that's a bad spot for it. So.
Yeah, it works. It works. The chat is up here. Yeah, Cole, and that's right, Cole. It's just like what the Clone Wars did, and the end of Bad Batch did for the prequels. We do have these supporting franchises in the era or predating the era to kind of add to it. It just, even that's starting to fall apart. The Mandoverse is basically falling apart. We got Ahsoka coming next. And that's about it. Hey there. Thank you for subscribing, Andy Siddiqui. All right. We pulled in a new user.
There we go.
Amen to that. We speak your name. All right, man. Here we go. We got another contentious one. But I think people are going to be surprised on this one for me. All right. Yeah, we're talking about it. We're talking about ROTS, Revenge of the Sith. You all may or may not know that I have a 15-minute dissertation out on the YouTube channel about this movie and my thoughts on it. It's a few years old. I was a little bit angrier back then, a little more critical of the prequels in general, and especially this movie. And if you are new here, I'll summarize it for you because the story gets old. It's been told many times. Check out our back catalog, the archives. And this is going to be weird because we're tier ranking and we just put Attack of the Clones in F. But I will tell you, Revenge of the Sith is my least favorite prequel movie. It's not even close. I'm not making a joke. This is 100% real. And you youngins, I'm sure you're going like, oh, sweet. We can now tune out of this channel because we do know that this guy's a fucking geezer and he's stupid. But hear me out. It's just... I know Nick was teeing off on AOTC for bad acting. Well, guess what? It doesn't really improve in Revenge of the Sith, and it might even get worse for certain characters. Love Hayden Christensen, but shit, man, some whininess there. Maybe not as whiny as Attack of the Clones, but not great. His scenes with Padme, who went on to win an Oscar, not good. Again, Ewan probably the best in that. Ian, we've talked about, overacts like a motherfucker to the point where it's comical, like he's literally cackling and stupid shit. But my biggest beef with Revenge of the Sith, love the opening. Think that's fantastic. It's way too long though. Yep. I mean, the opening's almost an hour itself.
Love the Rey shields.
Yeah. It's smarter than yeah. So you got those stupid moments, and shit falling on Kenobi, and he's fine. It then just smashes entire torso. Whatever. My biggest beef with Revenge of the Sith is how it handles Anakin's turn or fall to the dark side. I think it's glazed over. I don't think it's earned. It's definitely bolstered through what we get in the Clone Wars, where you kind of see Anakin a little more flirting with his darker nature. But in this movie, it's literally like, hey guys, I'm awesome. I'm doing the right thing. Okay, yeah, you didn't make me master. Oh well. And yeah, this guy's putting seeds in my head, but I actually figured out he's the bad guy and I'm going to be a hero now. And oh shit, never mind. we're about to kill them, and we can't kill bad guys, even though I just cut one of their fucking heads off. So, see ya. I'm gonna become Darth Vader. I don't like it. Okay, it didn't feel earned. It felt cheap. He's literally going from I'm going to be the hero to now I'm the bad guy. I know you all that are diehards. You have your well thought out reasonings as to why the movie perfectly lines up his fall and how the Jedi were fucking him over, which I agree. You can see it. I still don't think it's enough to make yourself a child murderer and turn on your order. But what do I know? So that really tarnishes Revenge of the Sith for me. I like the fights, obviously, the Battle of the Heroes, the formation of Darth Vader, his first breath in the mask, his last breath of Anakin. I think they're great moments, but you're never going to fucking fix that movie for me and how it handled my man Anakin Skywalker. So for me, I do not think Revenge of the Sith can be S tier. I'll go A.
Yeah, I mean...
And that should surprise some of you motherfuckers. I bet you're ready for me to put that thing down in F. See, I'm not that big of a troll. I just can't. It's not a perfect Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to agree that this is... Now I'm struggling to see what's going to end up being in C, but we'll get there when we get there. But here's what I'll say. I enjoy this movie more than AOTC. I think that the thing that really makes this movie more enjoyable for me is that it's paced very well, which I think was a struggle in the first one in TPM. I think the pacing of TPM is slow all the way up until you get to the third act. That movie kind of drags, like it takes its time. And, you know, this is what George said. George said that TPM was 25% of that trilogy, which if you really look at it, each movie should be roughly 30%, but whatever. It's the one that has the least amount of story in it. So for me, I really enjoy the pacing of ROTS. I enjoy the fights. I think that the fights in ROTS are probably the best in the sequel trilogy. That was, you know, when Hayden and Ewan had really dialed in the lightsaber work that they had been doing with Gallard over, you know, that time period. I do think that, I mean, like, and here's the thing, like, it's like you can go and listen to the actors themselves talking about their work in the Star Wars prequels, and they will all tell you that, you know, it wasn't their strongest work. I mean, you had what, 3 Oscar winners in that movie, and a lot of it feels a little like wonky, and that's not, you know, like they act with what they're given. And I think that the writing in the prequel trilogy was okay sometimes, and sometimes a little off. I mean, you said A. Yeah, I'm all right with A. I mean, I think that A is appropriate. I think that it's got some of the best fights we've ever seen in Star Wars. I think the Battle of the Heroes is a really awesome fight to watch. Like when that came out on DVD, I would just start the movie. Like I would just start it at the Battle of Heroes and watch it all the way through. I really enjoyed watching that fight. And I do think that there's some good stuff from Ewan in that movie. Yeah, I think that like Ewan really does a good job, you know, against some bad writing from George. He's probably the standout in that movie for sure. Like he looks the least silly, at least. Yeah. I mean, and like I can see what people are saying. It's like, well, his turn happens over all 3 movies. I mean, really, the turn probably happens over just 2. Like it happens over AOTC.
There's nothing happening in TPM outside the foreshadowing that Sheev has identified his next victim. That's it. I mean, little Anakin was as innocent as it gets. I will make the case that you get more of screwy darkside Anakin in Attack of the Clones. He's way more emotionally fragile in Attack of the Clones than he is in Revenge of the Sith. And here's the point I want to make. And don't take this as a knock on you younger people. You gotta remember, you were watching these movies as little kids. Your brains were not fully formed. This is not a knock. This is just real life. Like you were watching it and bam, visuals, bam, lightsabers. Of course, you're like, oh yeah, it all lines it up, all makes sense. You're a child. You have a child's brain, a child's heart, a child's imagination. I get it 100%. Why the prequels resonate with all the young kids that watched it, and from 99 to 2005. 100%. Think from the lens of someone that was in their 20s. I was 25 when it came out. Your brain operates a bit differently at that point in time. You're a little more analytical. You can perceive things a little bit. You can kind of see through the veil of cinema and the magic, and you're probably a little more critical. And then that's why I have the feelings I do. It just, listen, I was a guy of the OT. I had all these expectations for the prequel, didn't quite pan out, and then that's how my man turns into Darth Vader. I was like, pooey, fuck that. But it's a generation thing, and I'm way softer on it now. It doesn't upset me as much as it used to. I'm not going to be putting out, like I said, 15-minute long videos telling you all how dumb you are because you think Revenge of the Sith is the best prequel. It's definitely not. That's going to be one we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But I'm softer on it now. I think A tier is quite fair.
Yeah, I think that's
right.
a fair assessment, because I mean, realistically, there may be 2 movies in S, or
there's at least 3 for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 2 or 3, and that's probably it.
Let's start with the next one, because I think this next one has potential depending on how we go, and we're talking about TFA. So the kickoff of the sequel trilogy, hands down the best sequel trilogy movie. I think that's probably a universal statement I can say without getting too many tomatoes thrown at my face. It's not even close. It was a start. There was a very clear plan for the characters. There was a very clear growth for the characters, and then we know what happens. But whether you want to say this movie sucked because it recreated A New Hope or not, I don't care. It's a damn fun Star Wars movie. We all were fucking jazzed to go back and see it, and we all came out going, damn, that was way better than I thought, especially us older people that still had a little PTSD from the prequels. I mean, think about some of you that were in your 20s when you watched the sequels. Again, it was a different experience. You're older. You can understand more. You perceive more. That's why you may have been more critical of the sequels than the prequels. But I think TFA was awesome. It's got some great moments, got a great end battle. The moment Rey pulls the family saber to herself is top tier Star Wars. So I could float TFA S, but I think I'm more comfortable putting it in A.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this one is like, TFA remains one of my top 3 Star Wars movies. That's just, like my personal ranking. I think that TFA is better than every prequel movie. I think Ben Rye just said that as well.
Yep.
Like that's just me. Again, like all of these tier rankings are subjective.
I will agree with the both of you on that statement.
So for me, it would probably be an S tier, and it's because it truly captured the look, the feel, the emotions that I really enjoyed from the original Star Wars movies. Is it a bit derivative? Yeah, like for sure. Like there's no doubt that it's a bit derivative. I think that derivation of previous properties is just the norm now. I think that almost everything that comes out is derivative, and that doesn't make it bad right off the bat just because it's similar to something else. I think that they had set up a really interesting dynamic between the characters that were in play, and I think that the ending of that movie is fantastic. I mean, the scenes with Kylo and Han on Starkiller Base, like you mentioned, the fight in the forest, the snowy forest on Starkiller Base,
all the way to Rey's journey on the island, like that music and her walking up, and then Luke turns around and cut. That was like, whoa! Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah. So like for me, this is an S tier movie because it gave me a lot of hope for,
you know what? You're fucking right.
To come.
For Christ's sakes, I named my goddamn daughter after Rey after watching this movie. True. So what the hell am I doing talking A tier? This is fucking S tier. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
Thank you for pulling my head out of my own ass for me.
I just remember, I think the thing that sticks with me so much is like, I remember being in that movie theater, watching that movie, and just being so happy.
It was awesome.
That I was like, oh my God, this is like the Star Wars that I remember. This is what Star Wars is going to be like from now on. And like, I was super excited, and I left that movie theater and like, I cried during the first time I saw it when Han died. And I cried again when I saw it, for 3, 4, 5 times I saw it in theaters when he died.
Yeah, League's right. John Williams also fucking killed the score. Like Rey's theme is great.
Williams,
the way he kind of remade some of the main themes was awesome.
Yeah, it had every note of Star Wars charm that you could want in a Star Wars movie.
You're right. It's S tier. And the more I think about it, I remember exactly where I was when I watched it, which theater. It doesn't even exist anymore. I remember the night almost perfectly. I can do the same thing with TLJ. We get to the Rise of Skywalker, just blacked out. I don't even remember my first viewing. I know that it sucked because Nick and I spoiled the whole fucking plot for ourselves with this stupid show. We found the entire script leak because Boyega left in his hotel room, and we knew everything. So that really killed Tross for me on opening night. All right. Let's get away from the Skywalker saga. We're going to evaluate our first Star Wars story, Nick, and it's one I know both you and I are fans of, but where does it fall on the tier board? And that, of course, is the Solo movie, which, quite frankly, got its ass punished because of The Last Jedi and Star Wars fans being a little oversensitive, and Bob Iger kind of fucking it by himself by saying, hey, you know what? Even though we've been releasing Star Wars movies in December, it's kind of become a new thing. We got away from the May releases. Let's release this one in fucking May so we can save December for Mary Poppins 2. I mean, come on. I mean, it failed. It gets shit on because it took years to make, and a new director had to come in. Remember, Ron Howard had to come in and save it from Chris Lord and Phil or whatever the hell their names are. But if you actually went and saw it opening weekend and you're not a shitty Star Wars fan, in League, I know I'm not talking directly to you, League. I know this one does not resonate with you. And you are not a shitty Star Wars fan. You are on the up and up. But I don't know how you don't like Solo. And I'm not talking directly to League. I'm just saying in general. I thought Solo was very fun. It was different. We get rid of all the wizardry. We kind of get in the nitty gritty, a little bit into the criminal world. And Alden Ehrenreich I thought was excellent. I love the introduction of the character of Kira and where that was going. Maul coming back, Crimson Dawn, and the potential to show us how Han rises through the ranks of smugglers and scoundrels. It was a damn good heist action movie, and you can't beat the fact that we got to see the genesis of Han and Chewie. So, I mean, really, for me, Nick, I think Solo is A-B territory. Potentially A, easily B, so I'll kick it to you. Where are you at on Solo?
Yeah, I really like Solo. I think that Solo took what was happening in Star Wars and really kind of flipped it on its head. This is the movie that brought the levity back to Star Wars in a way that I was really kind of jonesing for. Especially after TLJ. TLJ was a heavy movie. Regardless of your thoughts on, the quality of it, it is a heavy movie. You have the death of Luke Skywalker. You had essentially the death of the Resistance. A lot of heavy shit happened in that movie, and I think that Solo brought a levity and a fun feeling back to Star Wars for the first time in a while. I still enjoy watching that movie. And here's another underrated thing about that movie, and it's something that is almost never talked about in terms of modern day filmmaking. The runtime of that movie is tight. It's not 2.5 hours long when it doesn't need to be. It's like an hour and 50 minutes, and it moves. It's paced well.
Its pacing is very good. You're right.
Yeah, it's paced well. It's super easy to watch. The people that are in it are all entertaining. You have some absolute stars in that movie. Woody Harrelson's fucking fantastic in that movie. Thandie Newton killed it. And I think that Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Leet was awesome and brought a droid to life, almost like something we've never seen before, like really giving a droid personality and making it a character that has its own agency. I think that Solo is A tier for me. I think that it is one of the easiest movies. Like if you're introducing Star Wars to somebody, I'd be like, hey, if you only watch one Star Wars movie, watch Solo. Solo's fucking fun. It grounds you in the universe. It introduces you to super important characters in Han and Chewie. Like you get a lot from it without feeling like you're really weighed down.
Yeah, hey, listen, that's a good point. Like I said, I kind of left it open to you because I think it's B easy, definitely could fit in A, and I think you made some very solid points. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and move Solo up to that A tier with Revenge of the Sith. All right, now we're getting into actual good Star Wars movies, people. The original trilogy. Thank you. Star Wars prequels don't exist without this shit. Sequels don't exist without this shit. Some of them may look like shit these days because it's over 50 years old, but hey, we love them. And we're going to start with the best Star Wars movie ever made, Return of the Jedi. What else do you need to hear? I mean, this movie came out of the oven S tier. It's got everything you want. Luke becomes a Jedi. Luke redeems Vader. They have that great throne room scene. We see the death of Vader and the resurrection of Anakin Skywalker. It used to have the Yub Nub Ewok celebration at the end. The Sarlacc pit, Jabba the Hutt, space battles, ground battles, lightsaber battles. It is the perfect Star Wars movie. Great performances, great emotion, great resolution until the Rise of Skywalker pisses on its face. It's S tier. Done.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue against that. I think that there are some of the best moments in Star Wars history in this movie. You know, people have their own opinions on the Ewoks and stuff like that. But
Ewoks
I think
are
that,
awesome. Remember, we memorialized the one that dies. That's how impactful they are, Nick. Come on.
That is very, very true. Maybe there'll be more S tiers than I initially thought, but I think that this is S tier for sure. Like I can't, like there's really, it's hard for me to argue against it, right?
It
like
just is. Like, I mean, there is. I mean, there's literally, and we're about to do this for the next one. I mean, it's like I said, it's the OTs. Yeah, I might be a homer, but in the end, I'm right. I mean, it's just like, let's be real. They are S tiered. Next one, Nick, a little film called The Empire Strikes Back. Ever hear of it? Do you like it? Considering this is universally described as the ultimate, the best Star Wars movie ever, even creatives that aren't in Star Wars point to The Empire Strikes Back as the best sequel ever made. People that start trilogies, they can only dream that they're going to have an Empire Strikes Back as a second film in the trilogy. It is, It's not my favorite movie. I've explained why. I'm not a hater. I was a little kid and I didn't like being fucking bummed out. I didn't like watching the good guys lose. Just like B-Man was saying, man, I watched my hero turn into Darth Vader. You made my point for me. See how things are different when we consume Star Wars at different ages? I disliked The Empire Strikes Back. I did not like seeing Luke get beat up by a Wampa, Luke getting beat up by his dad, losing his hand. I didn't like it. But I do respect this film and what it is and what George did with it and how he just expanded the galaxy. And you could probably argue without Empire, this thing may have never become the juggernaut that it is. It is the epitome of sequel excellence. So this is another easy S tier.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's unquestionable. I mean, I also think that this has kind of become a curse for Star Wars. Like people, like if there's ever like a sequelized trilogy or something like that, people expect the second movie in Star Wars to be like, oh, this is going to be the Empire Strikes Back one. This is going to be the ESB. And I think that's like, people who work in Star Wars feel beholden to that. So it may be hard for them to be like, look, my second movie does not have to be ESB. Like TLJ was trying to be ESB. Like that was the sequel trilogy's ESB.
It's an unattainable feat, right? Like it just, you're never going to do this again outside of maybe Two Towers. But that's based on existing material.
Existing canon. And there's so much that happens in it. But what people miss with this too is like, this was also the first TLJ in terms of like the fan backlash against it. Like this was the first time in Star Wars history where fans were like, I can't fucking believe they did that. Like, why is Darth Vader Luke Skywalker's father? That's so stupid. Like,
so you're saying we've always been an angry bunch, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it seems like it. But I do think it's unquestionable. Like it is a filmmaking achievement that kind of transcends Star Wars itself and moves into like this is when you really move into like film history. And like this being regarded as one of the best like films of all time and not just one of the best Star Wars films of all time.
It's S tier. What are we doing? We're just wasting time at this point in time. We don't get paid by the hour, Nick, so fuck it.
That's true.
All right, we're going to revert back to the prequels. We got one more to go. And I listen, I am an unabashed fan of the Phantom Menace. I love it. Loved it the first time I saw it. Love it every time I watch it. Went and saw it 10 times in the theaters back in 99 when you couldn't even reserve your seat. There was no digital projection. It was still film. I do think it is the perfect prequel. And yes, it's got child actors in it. But guess what? That's why it's excusable. Why you can't excuse Jake Lloyd. And God bless the man. He did a great job as young Anakin. You got to love Natalie as Padme. I even appreciate Jar Jar Binks because at least he had somewhat of a purpose in that movie. You had the pod racing. It was Star Wars. Like, it was the first new Star Wars in almost 20 years. It was an event. It was a global event. It was a galactic event. Darth fucking Maul, Darth Sidious, Duel of the Fates, the music, the battle in Naboo, the space battle. Spinning fucking N1s. It's, now this is pod racing, man. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to be a slapdick and say it's S tier. I'm not going to be that juvenile, but I 100% think TPM is just as good, if not, it is better than ROTS. So I'm going A tier minimum for TPM.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's
holy shit, Lima's in here. We haven't seen Vicente in a minute.
Ever.
Welcome, my friend.
For me, this one's difficult because I think, like, I almost look at TPM as like two separate movies. Like, you have the first act and a half, and then you have the second act and a half that feel so different from each other.
Like, what are you saying? Like, when they leave Tatooine and head back to Coruscant with Anakin?
Yeah, because that's really where the movie kind of shifts, right?
I'm assuming you like the back half better than the front half.
For sure. I think that the front half of that movie is super slow and can be really hard to get through.
Are you an angel?
Some of that shit is it's just like
oh me.
It's like, it's hard to get through. And like, I think that the only thing that really saves the first, like that beginning part of that movie is the pod race. I think everything else can get really fucking like a little bit annoying. You don't like hearing about trade disputes and blockades and shit like that? And I love how the first time
now there are two of them! Or the overly racist.
Oh my god, dude! It's
both the Gungans and the Nemoidians definitely sounding like certain races. And
I love how the first introduction, like the first chronological introduction to Jedi, is them literally running away from a fight.
Yeah,
like they're in a hallway. There's a door in front of them, and they're like, the door is locked. What do we do? Pew! And then you get 5 seconds of him shoving his lightsaber into it, and then some droids show up and they run away. Like, and it's like shit like
Master,
that. In this
destroy
movie,
us.
it just drags it down. I would say, like, I know how much you love this movie. For me personally, this is probably a C tier.
Oh,
but like,
fuck you.
But I would say that, like, I would give you low A tier for this one because of how much you like it.
Friend. All right, thank you. I was gonna say, geez, come on.
But like for me, if I pick this movie up after they've already left Tatooine, I'm okay with missing the pod race, like, and just get into the meat of this film.
But you don't want to learn about midichlorians and dice games and junk dealers?
I like midichlorians has now just become
what they call now M count. Yeah,
M count. They're just like, we don't even say the word.
No, they didn't even like turn it into middies or anything. They're just like, hey, fuck it.
M count.
Yeah.
Dude,
also, there's the ventilation chops. Listen to me. I can quote all these fucking movies like an idiot. I really am just a dope. All right, good stuff there. I am gonna go ahead and take advantage of your grace, young Nick, and I'm putting TPM into the A tier.
I accept that. I accept that because of our friendship, our long friendship.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you. All right, we got 2 to go.
Yes.
Up next, the other Star Wars story. We should have had at least 2 more, a Boba Fett and an Obi-Wan, but no, we stopped at Solo because why not? Let's make, and I don't want to get into it, Nick, and I'm glad you kind of missed it because you would have had steam coming out of yours, but did you see that Disney and Marvel are proceeding with 7 new MCU shows from December 24 to December 25? And coming off of Bob Iger saying, yeah, we need to cut down on Marvel. I actually think he was saying we need to cut down on Star Wars because 7 shows in a year ain't cutting down. But anyways.
I think what may have saved, it's just they're measured on different scales. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
They're measured on different scales. But I will say that apparently the Agatha show is really doing well in terms of viewership. So I don't know.
All right. So we got Rogue One. Rogue One. It was the first Star Wars story. It's literally a movie written off of the beginning of the opening crawl of A New Hope. Mm-hmm. We're not having any Jedi. We're just going to kind of, mill around with these low-level rebels and Cassian, this outcast Jyn Erso, Saw Gerrera, the guerrilla fighter of the Rebel Alliance. You kind of get to see the genesis of the Death Star being operational and how they got the plans to the rebels to kind of turn the tide in A New Hope. It was really a great film. It's essentially Star Wars 0 if you think about it. Or Star Wars 3.5. It did a really good job at filling in that gap right before A New Hope, fleshing out what the Rebel Alliance was all about and what they are willing to do to hopefully turn the tide against the Empire. It's only gotten better now that we have the Andor series and Cassian's been more fleshed out. You had Chirrut and Baze. They were great characters. Fucking K2SO, a droid sacrificing itself and getting us meatbags emotional. That's a high grade. That's a high mark for a film. And it's just a damn good Star Wars movie. And kind of like Solo, yeah, it cheated a little bit. It had Vader, it had the Empire proper and the Rebel Alliance proper, but it still shied away from all the mysticism and fantastical stuff. And I think it did a really good job at showing the grittiness of the Rebel Alliance, what it was willing to do, what it was facing, and how 2 or 3 people really can change a conflict, both in fictional galaxies and even in our real world. So you know what, man, I think Rogue One is a pretty easy A tier for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely between A and S tier for this, so it's up there for sure. And like it's hard to really figure it out. I'm fully comfortable with A tier. But it's like then you get to the question of like, well, why isn't it S?
Okay. Lay it down.
And it's hard for me to figure out why it wouldn't be S tier. I do think that it is the best it's one of the best movies that's come out since Disney has released it, and I would argue.
Do you think it's significantly better than Solo? Because that's really the one we almost have to judge it against.
Yeah, it's so hard because I think that they're just tonally so different, but they're both kind of going at the same thing from different avenues, right? Like one of them is coming at the underworld and the non-mystical side of Star Wars from a more like action-oriented, like fun sense, and the other one is more of like a serious tone in a much more gritty tone. I think I'm I'm leaning towards S on it, and it's because that I really can't see a reason that it's not S. Like, it's such a well executed film. I think that there's like everything that's been about it screams S to me.
Okay. I mean, you do make a good point. I guess I am. I'm like, is it as quality as Empire, Return of the Jedi, and TFA though? Is it?
I know that's the hard part.
Can it sit in that row with those movies? And that's kind of where I have a bit of a blocker.
Yeah. So I would be comfortable with A, but I could see it being in both places. But I do personally, I do think that the other three are better.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly better. I don't know, man. I feel itchy putting it up there in S. I think I'm gonna have to override and bring it into A.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm totally.
It looks better with it's got its compatriot there, TPM and ROTS. I think it feels good at A.
Yeah.
Hold on. B-Mad coming in with a super chat. My man, what's the best content for you in post ROTS and pre A New Hope? Well, post ROTS, probably the Clone Wars. I'd say the Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars is the best. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of
it's
it.
The most fleshed out. I mean, I didn't hate Kenobi. I like parts of that.
Actually, Clone Wars is not post ROTS pre. I mean, if we're talking,
okay, I'm an idiot. All right,
if we're talking like in universe chronology, it's not. But if you're talking about like when things were released. Like
I'll take what he's saying. So it's got to be after the Clone Wars. So
yeah.
Well, shit.
I mean,
I guess it is Rogue One though. I think Rogue One's better than the Kenobi series.
Yeah, probably so. It's probably Rogue One,
and it's better than
Kenobi
no shit on Bad Batch, but it's definitely better than Bad Batch. So.
You think it's better than Rebels?
Oh fuck! Ooh,
that's the hard one.
Damn
Rebels
it! You're right. Honestly, I would go Rebels, Rogue One, Kenobi, Bad Batch. There you go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you, B-Matt. We love you, brother. There you go. Like I said, we are performing monkeys. You throw change at us, we'll do whatever you want. And last but not least, and this should be another easy discussion. I mean, for Christ's sakes, without this movie, we get nothing else. He took a flyer on it. He believed in himself. And the he I'm talking about is not the mouse in my pocket. It is George Lucas. The guy literally gambled his career and his life on this thing and made what has become the gospel to many of us. I mean, without Episode 4, A New Hope, there's nothing. Without the success of that movie, there's no Empire. So I can't, there's no way in my Star Wars fanboy soul can I say anything bad about this movie and rank it anywhere outside of S. Is it my most favorite OT? Absolutely not. It might be my second or least favorite, but it is the movie that started it all. It's the one that I probably feel the most nostalgia for when I throw it on because of how it raised me and was essentially the backdrop of my childhood. The way my daughter kind of glommed on to the Ben's Death song and those moments we used to have driving home from daycare. I fucking love this movie. I mean, Star Wars started it for me. It's S tier, always S tier. There are no other tiers for A New Hope.
Yeah, this one, it's so hard to rank it because of everything that you said. I think objectively it is a worse movie than the three that are above it.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's worse than TFA, ROTJ, and ESB.
It's a national treasure, though.
Yeah, that's the problem with ranking this one. Personally, for me, it's A tier. But I do agree that, like, it is the movie that started the movement, and it is a movement that has lasted longer than any other film franchise in history, right? I don't think that there's been a longer running.
If we don't figure out a way to destroy ourselves, Star Wars is going to be taught just like the Odyssey, a lot of the shit that the Greeks were coming up with. This is our modern day mythology, and it started with this movie. So
yeah, so
looks janky as fuck these days, but it's a classic. And
like I agree with you that like there is value in like what it was for the time that it was made in.
Groundbreaking.
And if you really look at sci-fi films before that. It was like stop motion stuff, and like it all looked.
2001
was really bad.
Probably the best until Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. So I agree with you that it's S. So what I would say then is that we could probably just move Tross and AOTC up one tier, and there's just no F tier.
I kind of like the no C tier. It's a weird board.
I do actually, now that you say it, it's either Star Wars is good or Star Wars is bad. There's no middle.
You know what, dude? I think
no middle.
I think we nailed it, to be honest with you. Like, I think it's pretty fucking perfect looking. So
yeah, I think it looks good where it is.
All right. Well, there we go, people.
With no C tier.
We did it. I mean, really, the OT it's in like legend tier, but you know, we didn't build it, just the S. So to recap our board of the 11 Star Wars live action movies coming into S tier, we've got the original trilogy, all 3, and then TFA. That was a surprise. A tier. Whoa, geez. Excuse me. Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, Solo, and Rogue One. B tier, The Last Jedi. C tier, D tier, The Rise of Skywalker. F, man, oof. I shouldn't have let him get it, but he let me get a few. Attack of the Clones. Real quick for the fan poll, total results. Oh, here's my list. What did I have? Yeah, S tier, I just had the original trilogy. D tier, I had Tross.
Nice.
B tier, Attack of the Clones. All right, the fans coming, their total results. S tier, they've got the trilogy, Revenge of the Sith, and Rogue One. Okay, A tier, they got TFA, Solo, TLJ, and TPM. B tier, Attack of the Clones. And all you were telling me how shitty it was, so shame on you all. D tier, Tross. Way to go. Way to go.
There we go.
All right. Excellent stuff. That's always fun, my friends, but it's now time to transition our happy asses over to the fan segment. We do it every week to close out the show. There's 2 ways to get involved. We'd love for you to play along. You can either participate through the question of the week, which gets posted to our Instagram at StarWarsTime.show, our YouTube community, youtube.com/StarWarsTimeShow, our Discord, Twitter. You can't miss it unless the algos hide it, but the best way to beat that is to like our content, click, 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 share. Then they'll know we don't suck as bad as I think we do. All right, so this week, Nick, we asked the people, you know, hey, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? And we got some responses, not a lot. Question of the week has been kind of falling flat these days, as expected when we're out of season. But we did get some replies from the regulars, so where's Tones been, by the way? I hope he's doing all right. Haven't heard from him in a minute. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
What do the fans have to say about their favorite Star Wars movie?
All right. First Strike Figs says, Rogue One, no matter if you like Star Wars or not, the story is simple. And standalone... Wait, hold on. Let me start that over. Rogue One, no matter if you like the story or not, the story is simple and standalone while still being a part of a larger tale. But the viewer doesn't need to know that. Outside of the acting and effects as well, this is, I think, the best Star Wars film.
All right.
So,
all right. First
Rogue
Strike.
One. League of Extraordinary Sixthers. She says, OT, Rogue One, TLJ, and for nostalgia, TFA.
Interesting. TFA gets the nostalgia on that one.
Gets the nostalgia vote. But I will say she's probably saying nostalgia because it is very nostalgic of the OT in that film. Maybe. I could be wrong. Johnny Osage Avenue says, hello, SWTS. Happy Halloween Eve.
You notice he always greets us. He always has a salutation.
He always is polite.
What a
in the
fucking gentleman
opening.
that guy is.
He really is. In my opinion, it's Empire. It's the genesis of the prequels and sequels. If all movies are tied to the Skywalkers, then this is the catalyst to Vader is Luke's dad.
Astute.
No, there is another. The Lies of the Jedi, the incest. Okay, maybe not that, but you can catch my drift. Oh, and Star Wars Force Ghosts. It does, like, ESB introduces a lot of Star Wars canon that sticks around forever.
Yeah, outside of Obi-Wan lying in A New Hope and just flinging out the Clone Wars, that's about it. ESB, He is kind of right. That's where the lore starts to develop.
Truly.
He still didn't figure it out because he was, sister and brother fucking in this movie. But he was working towards something there, Georgia boy.
Yeah, he was. It was the 70s, or it was the 80s back then. He was writing it in the 70s probably. So gotta forgive him some of those weird ones. Mando Mugshot says ANH, ESB, ROTJ, and Rogue One are S tier for sure. Don't think any explanation needed. TPM and TFA both A tier, Solo and ROTS B tier, and the rest of the sequels in AOTC in D tier.
All right.
There you go. He laid it all out for us, Mando Mugshot.
Damn, doing work there, Mando.
Yeah. There you go. Easy. He did that all in 5 minutes. It took us an hour.
I was going to say, he was right, and we still decided to talk about the original trilogy like we need to convince ourselves they're the best.
I know.
We are gas
2797
bags.
Studios. Bat says OT, and ROTS.
Oh, you dick.
He
did that. Yeah, he did that on
there.
purpose. I bet you didn't think I was going to put in A tier, did you, Bat? You little motherfucker.
That was a jab for sure.
Nova's going
Mando
ROTJ in chat. You got it, buddy.
There you go. Mando Pirate says TPM because it brings back so many childhood memories. The pod racing was awesome. Darth Maul was awesome with the double-bladed lightsaber, and Qui-Gon was one of the only good Jedi. Just a peak S tier movie. So there we go. Mando Pirate closing it out with TPM in S tier.
Not bad. I could get down with that. All right, well, it's time for the second avenue, the second way to get involved in the SWTS End the Show fan segment, and that is our Top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. The way you get involved here is all exclusively through Instagram at StarWarsTime.show. Use our hashtag Star Wars Time Show, but more importantly, to even be considered for Nick's weekly list of anointed artists, you must do add tag at StarWarsTime.show. Add tag StarWarsTime.show. My man on Monday nights or whenever he feels like it, he's a busy guy. He will scroll through them and pick his 5 favorite, and then we honor them on the show. So, Nick, what we got?
Indeed. Kicking off this week's top 5, we have Little Big Boy Jr. Little Big Boy Jr. has given us a shot of Darth Vader. And what really sold this one for me is the pose. It is a very, it's an action pose.
I dig it. I'm with you here.
It's just so cool. It's such a good pose that he struck the lightsaber in the back. He's like swinging down with a huge, powerful strike about to come down onto somebody who has drawn his ire. So I really do think that, Little Big Boy Jr. killed it on the post here with Mr. Vader.
Yeah, I dig it. I remember this made one of my daily reels. I try to do that too, and it's not necessarily daily anymore, and I don't give a shit. It's been nice to kind of let go of that OCD. But I do like to honor some of the artists out there. I would almost consider myself a forefather of the Star Wars toy photography community, even though I've kind of retired at a young age. But yeah, I saw this one come across the desk, and I was like, yeah, this is a winner, and Nick agreed. So kudos to you, little_big_boy_junior on Instagram.
That's right. Next up, we have Chava Fernando. So Chava.Fernando on Instagram. And Chava's given us an awesome Lego scene recreation from ESB, the best Star Wars movie. And it is the scene where Han is slicing open the dead Tauntaun to shove Luke's whole body in there to keep him warm.
They smell bad on the outside.
I love the setup. Like you can see Luke sitting there.
Lego shots are awesome.
It's just fantastic how they can get these little Lego bits to just perfectly recreate these scenes from the film.
Do you see the Tauntaun has a closed eye, by the way?
It does.
It's actually dead.
It's actually dead. That's what I noticed. I was like, man, he went in and probably did that in Photoshop or something. Actually gave it a closed eye.
That is hilarious.
So yeah, and then you got the powder on there for the snow. Just excellent work.
I wonder if the Tauntaun's custom. Yeah, it says last day to support at Get Crazy Bricks Snow Beast on Kickstarter. So yeah, it must be. They're calling it the Snow Beast. They're not calling it Tauntaun. So it's got to be a bootleg, but it's awesome. I mean, it's perfect.
For legal reasons, it is not a tauntaun.
Right. Yeah, it's like if you
So
wanted
there we
to
go.
sell your own Luke Skywalker figure and you call him like Sky Luker. It's just like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
exactly.
it's not him.
Different person completely.
Yeah, I
Good stuff.
actually have a Boba Fett. He's all painted silver and he has a pink cape and his name is Sucklord.
Hey,
He's awesome, dude.
I get it. I understand that name.
Yeah,
So,
Chava.Fernando on Instagram. Quality stuff there.
that's right. Next up, we got wanna be like Mike, wanna_be_like_Mike on the Instagram, and
my
they're giving
man.
us it's the best mashup you can do in Star Wars. This is the mashup between Star Wars and Ridley Scott's Alien. So you see Maul in full get up fighting two xenomorphs. I mean, this Maul figure has the awesome head sculpt with like the super angry face. The lightsaber effects are awesome. You see those like wavy, like tangential lines running off of it. And then the diode, the lighting, the setup, the posing, everything here from Wanna Be Like Mike is super on point, and I guarantee you Maul cuts these two xenomorphs down, no problem.
Yeah, I think he just lifts the blade and takes the one out behind him and then jacks the one in front. You just got to watch out for that acid blood, if you know what I mean. And if you watched Alien Requiem or whatever it is, these things are harder to kill than we ever thought. Okay, so who knows? But yeah, Maul looks great. I believe that's a 112, so little guy, high quality figure there. Great shot from Wannabe. And like you say, I do kind of like the chaos energy around the blade there. It fits Maul well. In the mashup, as we know, it's valid. It passes. We have seen the Xenomorph skulls in Star Wars comics, so it's legit. This could happen.
Bring it to live action. Make it happen.
Wanna_be_like_Mike.
There we go.
On Insta.
Next up, we have Moz_toy_photography.
These fucking underscores, man.
They just got it. Like the IG handles. You got to have them now. You got to have them. Moz Toy Photography hits us with an awesome portrait style shot of none other than Cad Bane. And I believe this is the Clone Wars Cad Bane from what it looks like. I just like the shot is super clean. The pose is awesome. The figure looks great. Good use of atmosphere and lighting. And Cad Bane's just one of those figures that if you photograph it well, it just looks so clean.
Yeah, man, I have this one on pre-order, and I've definitely been flopping back and forth on should I just cancel them? Because I'll be honest with you, this is not a hot toy. It's a sideshow. So it's still 1/6, but it's sideshow. It's not hot toy. And there, if you're in the 1/6 community, you collect 1/6, you collect hot toy. You understand they are premiere, and you also understand that sideshow is mid. And you're not wrong. This figure looks great. It is gonna be a great figure. The problem with fucking sideshow 1/6 scale, terrible bodies. Like they'll just crumble. They barely stand. They need stands to stand up. My fucking Ahsoka falls over all the time. I want to rip her head off, but because I'm an asshole, he's going to complete my line of sideshow shitty figures, so I decided to keep the order intact. But Maz definitely did a good job bringing this guy to life. You are right. This is the TCW CAD, so I'm going to have him and the live action CAD. Gotta collect them all. Gotta catch them all. Nice. But I have a feeling he is not going to pose well, so kudos to Maz for actually getting this thing to stand up and not just crumble because its skeleton is made out of Jell-O. So this is Maz, MOZ_toy_photography on that Insta.
There we go. And to close out the top 5 this week, we have Captain X. So it's CPT_EKX or EKS on Instagram. And this was a super fun shot. It's not really a mashup, but it is a escape from the pumpkin forest, as Captain X calls it. And what we see here is Padme, Amidala, and Chewbacca. Seems like they have both been possessed by the spirits of the pumpkin forest. You could see their eyes have turned orange. They're walking in a zombified manner, and in the back, I think it's a Kowakian monkey lizard.
This is an entry for Sir Dork Pumpkin Challenge.
Well, there you go. That bumps it up. It made the top 5
Look at
on
this guy. Yeah, hey Jared, take note. If Nick selects it, you pretty much have to select it.
I think what's really cool about this, the lighting, I love the lighting. I love the diorama setup that they got together here. I think that the poses, while they look wonky, they're supposed to look wonky because they're zombified.
They're like, they're zombie-ish, yeah.
They're zombies and they're walking around. I think it really fits the spirit of Halloween and does a good job of
you know what? Real quick, let me back up
it.
to Wannabe, because I think Wannabe also did a pumpkin challenge. Let's try to influence the vote on this too. No, it must not be Wannabe. No, it was Nilla Gorilla. That's who it was. Nilla Gorilla. I won't mess around, but yeah, Nilla Gorilla had a great pumpkin entry with, I think Mando was the subject. Anyways, my bad. Off topic. Back to CPT_EKS on Insta. Way to go with this Padme shot.
That is right.
We tried our best, CPT. We'll see if Lord Dork will take Nick's vote. But he is the overseer. He is the overlord of the Sir Dork Pumpkin Challenge, not us.
That is true. But this is a fun shot. I really enjoy the feel that that Captain X was able to get in here. But that is right. That is Captain X CPT _EKS on Instagram. That's the end of the top 5. And that's the end of our show for this week. Matt, go ahead and close us out.
League, you're not going to be disappointed with that Hot Toys Rey. I actually want that Hot Toys Rey. I saw it. You got the Scavenger Rey from TFA. I want her and Island Journey Rey. Don't have them. And missed All White Rey from Tross because that movie pissed me off and I refused to buy figures from it. But you're not going to be disappointed. Hot Toys are amazing. I just hope you do not succumb to the Hot Toy sickness now that you own one. Bat laughed at me, Tones laughed at me, and these motherfuckers are now up to like 15, 20 on their own. So good luck. We speak your name. Hot Toys rule. But as Nick said, this episode is over. We made it. Technology didn't blow up. I think the cross chat worked out pretty well, at least for me. Our new vertical stream kicking butt, dude. I think we had almost 400 people tune in there, 360. So that is to be commended. So I thank myself and young Nick for coming on and testing that shit out and delivering another mediocre show. Mm-hmm. We love you, people. All right.
Thank you to our new sub as well.
That's right. We got a new sub.
For those of you out there,
and as
$1.99.
Yeah, right. If you want to, you want to step up the game, you think our happy slap dicks are worth a little money each month, we'd love you to consider becoming a member. You also got the super chats and stuff like that. But we're not going to beg. If you feel we earn it, you give it to us. We're all good. We'll live. We'll keep doing it because there's always time for Star Wars time, people. Don't you forget that. In between the shows, we need you out there whipping us, stumping for the SWTS. Let the people know. StarWarsTime.net. StarWarsTime.net. You can do it. It's not hard. I know it's .com, but it works. It's on the internet. People can find it. They can loop into our socials. If you happen to be more of a podcast fan, we even got one of those pages for you. Go ahead and click on subscribe to podcast. We got Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Android, iHeart, Podchaser, Blueberry, email. You can download the shit if you want to. We're giving this shit away. We just need you to let people know. So, StarWarsTime.net. Always time for Star Wars time. I think we might roll with David Chavez's idea for next week. So maybe we'll have a character or two deep dive, get some lore action going down. And before you know it, we'll be in season again with Skeleton Crew come December 3rd. Make sure to tune in for those shows because that is where we make our hay. All right, people. It's always time for Star Wars time. And if you listen to the Star Wars Time show, either vertically, horizontally, or audibly, the Force will be with you always.